Chapter 121. Not only were Sun Hongyuan and Qiu Yu confused, but everyone was also curious about the current situation of Qin Huai and the others. Lu Yiping is still alive. Just now, Lord Fengwen didn't say how he was going to deal with Lu Yiping. Sun Hongyuan said again. Qiu Yu also couldn't understand. Just now, he thought that Fengwen came out to announce that he had captured Lu Yiping and handed him over to the Taiqing Sword School as an apology. He didn't expect that he would come out to announce that Li Xinbin had betrayed the sect and was killed by the founder. Lord Qiu Yu, do you think that Lord Qin Huai and the others have already been killed by the founder? Sun Hongyuan said and made a killing gesture. Qiu Yu's expression changed and he gulped. That shouldn't be the case, right? Just now Lu Yiping killed Ojin Guk, and Lord Zhang Sangchong was already so angry. If the founder killed Lord Qin Huai and the others, wouldn't that be terrible? At that time, wouldn't Lord Zhang Sangchong flip the Jiutian upside down? The founder probably wouldn't do something so impulsive. Ojin Guk was a mid-stage heavenly god. And even Zhang Sangchong came out of seclusion in anger after being killed. If the master of this plane Qin Huai was killed, Qiu Yu couldn't imagine what kind of scene it would be. The sword school assembly continued. On the main stage as the chief disciple, Sun Hongyuan sat beside Qiu Yu. He looked at the stage below, at the figures of Fan Yulan and Fan Sheng, and his eyes were indifferent. Fan Yulan and Fan Sheng, the two siblings, had overcome all difficulties along the way, and had now entered the top 10,000. Qiu Yu saw that Sun Hongyuan was staring at Fan Yulan and Fan Sheng, and knew what Sun Hongyuan was thinking. He said, right now we still don't know how the founder will deal with Lu Yiping, so it's better if you don't touch these two people for now. Sun Hongyuan nodded. Fan Yulan and Fan Sheng came with Lu Yiping. Originally, he planned to capture Lu Yiping and hand him over to the people of the Taiqing Sword School, and then make a move on Fan Yulan and Fan Sheng. However, he didn't expect that when Fengwen came out, he didn't announce the news of Lu Yiping. He looked at Fan Yulan and Fan Sheng, who were fighting on the stage, and smiled indifferent. Once the news of Lu Yiping being captured was confirmed, he would play the two of them to death. Inside the ancestral land, after Chu Tong asked Kong Yifan and the others to clean up the scene, Lu Yiping summoned Chu Tong and said, "Go and investigate the whereabouts of the Phantom Demon King in the ancient times. Also, bring me all the information about the Phantom Demon King. Bring me all the books related to the Phantom Demon King." Chu Tong was stunned, not understanding why Lu Yiping suddenly wanted to find the Phantom Demon King from the ancient times. "Yes, master, don't worry. I will send people to investigate and collect information about the Phantom Demon King," Chu Tong hurriedly said. Although he had doubts in his heart, he didn't dare to ask. "Also speed up the search for the heavenly demon tribes, how by?" Lu Yiping said. Chu Tong accepted the order and left. Lu Yiping wanted to find the Phantom Demon King, because he wanted to know about the creation tree fragment from the Phantom Demon King. Before the ancient times it was the ancient times, before the ancient times it was the ancient times, and even further back was the desolate times. In the ancient times the heavenly emperor had cut down the creation tree. If he knew where the Phantom Demon King found the creation tree fragment, he might be able to find other creation tree fragments nearby. Now his creation tree fragment was alive. If he could find other creation tree fragments, he could devour them and fuse with them. When the time came, he would be able to grow quickly. Otherwise, he would have to water 2 bowls of star chaos water every day. Where would he find so much star chaos water? Although he had found a pool at the end of the Star River, it wouldn't last long. At most, it could be watered for 1 or 2 years before it would be used up. After Chu Tong and company left, Lu Yiping entered the divine sacred hall and sat cross-legged in his room. Then, he started cultivating the longevity art. Instantly, golden lotuses surged and auspicious light descended. The auspicious cloud above Lu Yiping's head had 2 pieces of good fortune jade plates circulating within it. Recently, he had persisted in comprehending the great Tao in the second creation jade disc every day. Around Lu Yiping dark light appeared. It was daytime, but under the dark light around Lu Yiping, the entire divine sacred hall gradually turned dark. It was complete darkness. One couldn't even see their own fingers. Moreover, in this darkness all divine senses were blocked and blocked. This darkness was the initial darkness of heaven and earth. Within this boundary, all light had completely disappeared. From afar, The entire divine sacred hall had become a terrifying dark abyss. Around the divine sacred hall, the sunlight was as warm as before. This darkness was the great Tao of darkness in the second creation jade disk that Lu Yiping had comprehended. There were 100 great Taos in the second creation jade disk. Among them were the great Tao of darkness, the great Tao of light, and the great Tao of stars. As long as he could completely comprehend the great Tao of darkness, the great Tao of light, and the great Tao of stars, he could transform into the king of darkness and the ruler of light with a single thought. He could become the astral ancestor with a single thought. Just as Lu Yiping was comprehending the second creation jade disk, Qin Huai and company had entered the Guiyuan Sword School's ancestral land and hadn't come out. Moreover, the Guiyuan Sword School hadn't captured Lu Yiping. This caused everyone to speculate. I'm afraid Lord Qin Huai has already been killed by Ancestral Master Guiyuan. That's impossible. Ancestral Master Guiyuan would kill Lord Qin Huai and 7 heavenly gods, and nearly 100 true gods of the Taiqing Sword School just for Lu Yiping? Is Lord Chutong crazy? He's going to fight to the death with the Taiqing Sword School just for Lu Yiping. I really don't know what Chutong is thinking. For a time rumors spread everywhere. The entire firmament divine region was shaken. The news quickly spread to the Jun family. The Jun family was the second family in the firmament divine region, just below the Chu family. Even Ancestral Master Jun of the Jun family, the number 1 array master in the firmament divine region, was stunned for a long time when he heard the news. He couldn't believe it. Impossible. This must be a rumor. Jun Tianjian, the head of the Jun family, said in a low voice, although we can't be sure, I'm afraid it's true. Many people saw Qin Huai enter the ancestral land of Guiyuan, but he hasn't come out yet. Have you found the divine extermination map? Ancestral Master Jun suddenly asked. Jun Tianjian replied, there's already news. It's on someone called Hao Bai of the Heavenly Monster Tribe. We've found out that he's hiding in the Wind Thunder Prefecture of the Firmament Divine region. Oh, Ancestral Master Jun said. Then lock down the Wind Thunder Prefecture. Tear it down and find Hao Bai for me. Yes, Ancestral Master. Please rest assured. I'll make the necessary arrangements. Zither God Fu Chao, who was rushing over from the Qin and painting school, also heard the news about Qin Huai's death, killing Qin Huai and more than 100 experts of the Taiqing Sword School just for Lu Yiping? Fu Chao sneered. He's really stupid in courting death. He continued to fly toward the Guiyuan Sword School without stopping. Chu Tong wasn't weak, but Fu Chao was strong enough to suppress Chu Tong. He believed that Chu Tong wouldn't dare to not hand over Lu Yiping and Snowman of Heaven and Earth. Chapter 122. The night passed. The sky gradually brightened. Lu Yiping stopped cultivating and put the creation jade disc back into his body. As soon as he stepped out of the courtyard, he saw Chu Tong walking over. Chu Tong saluted and said to Lu Yiping, Master, I've found out the whereabouts of heavenly monster races Hao Bai. Oh, where is he? Lu Yiping was overjoyed. There was finally news of Hao Bai. Hao Bai is in the firmament divine territory. Chu Tong quickly answered. He's in Wind Thunder Prefecture's Lake City. He paused for a moment before continuing, however, according to the information we received, he's being hunted and robbed by many forces because he has the God Annihilation map. Lu Yiping was surprised. The God Annihilation sect was an extremely powerful force during the Middle Ages. I'm going to Wind Thunder Prefecture's Lake City now. Lu Yiping said immediately. Then I'll go with you, Master. Chu Tong said. No need. You stay at the Guiyuan Sword School. Xiao Jin and I will go. Lu Yiping shook his head. Then he called the Taurus Longjiao over and flew away on the Taurus Longjiao. In the blink of an eye, they disappeared into the horizon. Wind Thunder Prefecture. Lake City. Inside a small courtyard overgrown with weeds, Hao Bai was sitting cross-legged and circulating his cultivation technique. Green mist slowly seeped out from his body. Beside him, a young man was looking at him nervously. The young man was his disciple Su Yi. Suddenly, Hao Bai opened his mouth and vomited a mouthful of black blood. Master, are you all right? Su Yi hurried over and asked anxiously. Hao Bai wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and said, I'm fine. Then he said coldly, Feng Mingda of the Blood Soul Hall is a despicable man. If I hadn't saved him back then, he would have been killed by the demon dragon. Now, he betrayed me and revealed my whereabouts to others. At this point, he took out an interspatial ring and said to his disciple, Sui, "This interspatial ring contains what I have accumulated over the years. There are also some savings and the God Extermination map that I obtained from the God Extermination sect's ruins. Take it away from Jiutian and hide in the Hengyuan plain." Sui shook his head and said, "I'm not leaving." Haobai looked at his disciple Sui and sighed. "One person dying is better than the two of us dying together. Bring the God Extermination map to Hengyuan. They probably won't be able to find you. In the future, you can comprehend the God Extermination art and God Extermination array in the God Extermination map. When your cultivation has reached a certain level, you can avenge your master." At this moment a cold laugh sounded. Then, several figures appeared in the sky. The Black Wind Sect. Haobai's expression changed when he saw what they were wearing. The newcomer was none other than the Black Wind Sect's ancestor, Qi Yifan, a peak early-stage heavenly god. The Black Wind Sect had a total of 2 heavenly deities. Other than Qi Yifan, another heavenly god expert from the Black Wind Sect had also arrived. Suddenly, several figures appeared in the sky. Seeing the newcomers, the Black Wind Sect's ancestor Qi Yifan frowned. The newcomers were none other than the Tao family's ancestor, Tao Haiba, and the Tao family's experts. Tao Haiba was also surprised to see Qi Yifan. He put on a fake smile and said, "So it's Brother Qi Yifan. It seems like Brother Qi Yifan is well informed. You've arrived earlier than me." Qi Yifan chuckled likewise. Earlier, the two of them had joined hands to exterminate the Fan family, but it was only a temporary alliance. In truth, there was no friendship between the two of them. Soon after, several groups of people arrived. These groups of people were all first-rate forces in the Firmament God region. Their strength was no weaker than the Black Wind Sect and Tao family. Some of them were even stronger than the Black Wind Sect and Tao family. When they arrived, they surrounded the courtyard. However, each of them had their own concerns, so no one made the first move. A moment later, Qi Yifan looked at Haobai and said indifferent, "Hand over the God Extermination map." Haobai's face was gloomy as he looked at the 30-plus people in the courtyard. Among the 30-plus people, there were 9 Heavenly God Realm Masters, and the rest were either Heavenly God Realm Masters or peak late-stage True God Realm Masters. Despair rose in his heart. Recalling the years he had spent in the Jiutian, he couldn't help but feel sad. Hand over the God Extermination map and you can still live. Tao family's ancestor Tao Haiba said coldly. Haobai looked at the crowd and smiled sadly. A map appeared in his hand, seemingly made from the skin of some kind of divine beast. He looked at the crowd and said, "This is the God Extermination map." With that said, he tossed the map into the air. Qi Yifan, Tao Haiba, and the others were overjoyed. They soared into the air and flew toward the God Extermination map. Seeing Qi Yifan, Tao Haiba, and the others fighting over the God Extermination map, Haobai pulled his disciple Sui and flew toward one of the gaps. But just as the two of them flew out of the courtyard, a startling sword light cut through the void, reaching them in an instant. Haobai's face tightened, retreating in a hurry, but he was still a step too late. The sword light swept past. Haobai's left arm was cut off by the sword light. "Master!" Sui was alarmed. At this time, several more screams rang out. Both of them looked over and saw Qi Yifan, Tao Haiba, and the others who had tried to snatch the God Exterminating painting earlier were also injured by another sword light, falling from the sky. Several white-robed experts appeared, and the God Extermination map fell into the hands of one of them. Seeing the Jun character embroidered on the chest of the white-robed experts, whether it was Haobai, Qi Yifan, Tao Haiba, or the others, their faces paled. Jun family. These people were none other than the Jun family's experts. The one leading them was the Jun family's young lord, Jun Rui. Behind him were 6 Jun family's Heavenly God Realm ancestors, all of them peak late-stage Heavenly God Realm. The Jun family's young lord, Jun Rui, took the God Extermination map and flipped it over. On the front side of the God Extermination map, there were tiny characters and a human figure. On the back side of the map, there was a complicated array diagram. Jun Rui passed the map to one of the Jun family's experts behind him, saying, "Uncle Cheng, take a look and see if this map is real." Jun family's ancestor Jun Xinqing took the map and studied it carefully. After looking at it carefully, Jun Xinqing nodded. It's the real god extermination map. Qi Yifan stepped forward, cupping his fists. Are you the Jun family's young lord? We have no intention of competing with the Jun family for the god extermination map. We will take our leave. Tao Haiba and the others also cupped their fists, planning to leave. Take your leave? Jun family's young lord, Jun Rui sneered. Did I say I would let you go? Qi Yifan, Tao Haiba, and the others felt the killing intent coming from Jun Rui, and their faces paled. The Jun family was planning to silence them? Even Hao Bai and Su Yi's faces paled. The Jun family's young lord, Jun Rui, took out a golden net. With a flick of his finger, the golden net shot up into the sky, shining brightly, turning into a golden world that merged with heaven and earth. The heaven-imprisoning divine net. Qi Yifan exclaimed. That's right, the heaven-imprisoning divine net. Jun Rui said coldly, since you recognize the heaven-imprisoning divine net, you should know how powerful it is. Now that the heaven-imprisoning divine net has trapped the space around you, you won't be able to escape. Everyone's heart sank. The heaven-imprisoning divine net was one of the Jun family's supreme divine artifacts. They didn't expect the Jun family to bring the heaven-imprisoning divine net with them. It seemed like they had long planned to kill them. Kill them all, kill them quickly, don't leave anyone alive. Indifferent Jun Rui ordered. Behind him, the Jun family's 6 ancestors soared into the sky, pouncing on Qi Yifan, Hao Bai, and the others. Chapter 123. Although Qi Yifan, Tao Haiba, and the rest were early and mid-stage heavenly gods, they had only condensed 10 to 20,000 heavenly god laws. How could they be a match for the Jun family's 6 peak late-stage heavenly god experts? Each of the Jun family's 6 ancestors had condensed more than 90,000 heavenly god laws. Each of them was comparable to the Yin Ghost Sect's brilliant ancestor, and the Yellow Springs Devil Sect's by Wuchang. Qi Yifan was sent flying by a palm strike from one of the Jun family's peak late-stage heavenly god experts. The sound of bones breaking resounded in the air as his chest caved in. Ancestor. The Black Wind Sect's sect chief and several other experts from the Black Wind Sect were shocked and enraged. Miserable screams filled the air. Qi Yifan, Tao Haiba, and the other heavenly gods were fine, but the other true gods were killed with a single palm strike. Although the true gods had condensed their godheads, they were still too weak compared to the heavenly gods who had condensed their heavenly god laws, not to mention the Jun family's 6 peak late-stage heavenly gods. Those true gods were powerless in front of a peak late-stage heavenly god. The smell of blood filled the air. The Black Wind Sect and the Tao family's experts were all defeated. One of the Jun family's ancestors walked towards Hao Bai and Su Yi. Suddenly, a bright light burst out from Hao Bai's body, and a giant shadow emerged from his body. Shocking demonic aura swept out. This giant shadow was 100 zhang tall, shaped like a giant bear, but it had 4 giant arms. Oh, heavenly demon? The Jun family's ancestor was surprised, but he didn't take it to heart. In the ancient times, the heavenly demon tribe was indeed a demonic race. But since then, the heavenly demon tribe has declined. Although you have the heavenly demon bloodline, your bloodline is too thin. You might be able to deal with experts of the same level, but it's useless against me. Feeling the pressure from the giant shadow, the Jun family's ancestor remained indifferent. In a flicker, he appeared in front of Hao Bai and struck out with his palm. Palm force whistled and sword chi surged. It was the Jun family's secret art, the sword in palm. The palm was not an ordinary palm, but a palm technique passed down from the ancient times. The sword was created by the Jun family's ancestor. The Jun family's ancestor merged the 2 secret arts together, increasing its power. Hao Bai was shocked when he saw the ancestor's sword in the end. He pushed his disciple Su Yi away, and met with the palm force. There was a loud explosion. The bones in Hao Bai's arm cracked, and he smashed into the courtyard stone wall like a kite with its string cut. The stone wall crumbled to dust. Sand and dust flew everywhere. The great ancestor of the Jun family looked at Hao Bai, who was lying among the rubble, and said indifferently, "You think you can block my sword when you're only in the early divine realm? You're overestimating yourself." At this moment, the young master of the Jun family, Jun Rui, noticed that there was a blue-robed young man riding a golden bull in the sky above the courtyard. The other 6 ancestors of the Jun family, Qi Yifan, Tao Haiba, and the others were also stunned when they saw the sudden appearance of the young man. Wasn't this area already trapped by the heaven-imprisoning divine net? How did this young man get in? Furthermore, he didn't even see the heaven-imprisoning divine net being broken? The young master of the Jun family, Junrui, couldn't help but feel the heaven-imprisoning divine net. He found that it was still intact. "Who are you?" Junrui asked in surprise. Lu Yiping ignored Junrui and scanned the crowd. In the end, his eyes fell on Hao Bai, who was lying on the rubble and exuding a strong demonic aura, and he asked, "Are you Hao Bai of the heavenly demon tribe?" Hao Bai hesitated for a moment, then nodded and said, "I am." He looked at the blue-robed young man in front of him in confusion. He didn't seem to know this young man. It seemed that this young man had come here specifically to find him. Lu Yiping jumped down from the Taurus Longjiao and came to Hao Bai's front. Hao Bai's disciple, Sui, helped Hao Bai up and looked at Lu Yiping warily. A divine tree appeared in Lu Yiping's hand. The divine tree flew up and landed on Hao Bai's head. The divine tree emitted a green light, and a waterfall of life energy poured into Hao Bai's body. Hao Bai was surprised to find that the bones in his arm that had been shattered by the heaven-imprisoning divine net had reformed in the span of a few breaths. The injuries on his body were healed along with his arm. Even the injuries he suffered from the Blood Soul Temple's attack were healed. His blood essence was brimming, and the god force in his body was surging. His godhead shone brightly, and he was full of vigor. Watching this scene, whether it was the Jun family, Qi Yifan, Tao Haiba, or the others, all looked at the divine tree above Hao Bai's head in shock. What kind of divine tree was that? How could it heal a heavenly god expert's injuries in the span of a few breaths? Even a true god realm expert wouldn't be able to recover from such injuries easily. At the very least, it would take several days for them to fully recover, not to mention a heavenly god expert. Everyone's eyes burned with excitement. Hao Bai cupped his fists at Lu Yiping. "Many thanks for young noble's help." Lu Yiping grunted in acknowledgement and retrieved the divine tree. This divine tree wasn't the divine phoenix tree, but the divine tree of life. In his holy forest there was the spring of life, a heaven-splitting treasure. The divine tree of life grew from the spring of life after countless years. Although the divine tree of life's life energy was inferior to the spring of life, it was more than enough to heal a heavenly god's injuries. Lu Yiping said to Hao Bai, "I'm from Hengyuan, and I have some matters to discuss with you." Everyone was surprised to hear that Lu Yiping came from Hengyuan Plain. Although Jiuqian, Divine Earth, and Nether Prison were also in the Eternity Plane, most people would call them Jiuqian, Divine Earth, Nether Prison, and Eternal Dimension separately. Hearing that Lu Yiping came from Hengyuan Plain, the Jun family's young lord Junrui, who was guessing Lu Yiping's origin, relaxed. "You have some matters to discuss with me?" Hao Bai was even more confused. At this time, the Jun family's young lord Junrui and 6 ancestors walked over. Hao Bai retreated in shock. Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao turned around. When Lu Yiping saw the divine extermination map in their hands, a suction force came from his hand, and the divine extermination map fell into Lu Yiping's hand. The Jun family's 7 ancestors reacted, and all of them were enraged. Junrui glared at Lu Yiping and stretched out his hand, his eyes filled with killing intent. "How dare you steal my Jun family's things? You're courting death. I advise you to return the divine extermination map to me." "Your Jun family's things?" Lu Yiping's expression was indifferent. "This divine extermination map belongs to your Jun family?" Junrui's face flushed red, and he suddenly punched at Lu Yiping. When he punched out, the heavenly god's law entwined around his fist, and the light from his fist shone brightly, as if it could collapse the sky. This Jun family's young lord Junrui was a mid-stage heavenly god, and he had already condensed 60,000 heavenly gods' law. However, when he reached Lu Yiping, he found that the force of his punch seemed to have fallen into a vast abyss, completely disappearing, and he himself was stuck 10 meters away from Lu Yiping, unable to move. Everyone was shocked. The Jun family's 6 ancestors looked at each other with solemn expressions. One of them came to Junrui's side and in shock, he put his hand on Junrui, only to find that a terrifying suction force was sucking him in. He was also stuck there, and even if he channeled all of his divine energy and activated all of his 90,000 heavenly gods' law, he still couldn't shake it off. Chapter 124. Everyone looked at each other, not knowing what was going on. How could someone be stuck there, unable to move? The other 5 Jun family ancestors were even more shocked. Who are you? Please let go of our young lord. One of the Jun family ancestors said solemnly, but his tone was still polite. The dragon-horn golden bull looked at the Jun family's young master and young master Jun, and grinned. Let go? Maybe they will let go after a few tens of thousands of years. Everyone was shocked. A few tens of thousands of years? Would the Jun family's young lord be stuck here for a few tens of thousands of years? Or would he just stand there and wait for death? A heavenly god's lifespan was limited. What do you mean? The Jun family ancestor's heart sank as he glared at Taurus Longjiao. What do I mean? You can scram, but he can't. Taurus Longjiao laughed. The 5 ancestors were enraged, and their heavenly god energy surged. Just as they were about to attack, a cold voice sounded. You've interfered in our Jun family's matters, and now you've trapped my grandson here. Are you looking down on our Jun family? Everyone looked over and saw an old man and a middle-aged man flying over Hu City. In the blink of an eye, they arrived in front of the small courtyard. Seeing the old man and the middle-aged man, the Jun family members were pleasantly surprised. We greet Lord Great Ancestor, Lord Patriarch. The Jun family's 5 ancestors quickly stepped forward and saluted. Hao Bai Qi Yifan Tao Haiba, and the others felt a chill in their hearts when they heard this name. Great Ancestor Jun. The newcomer was the Jun family's great ancestor Jun, the second strongest person in the firmament god region. He was second only to the origin returning ancestor Chu Tong. The other person was the Jun family's patriarch Jun Tianjian. Great ancestor Jun had the ancestors stand up. He glanced at Lu Yiping and said indifferently, I was worried, so I came with Tianjian to take a look. The God-slaying grand array recorded in the God-slaying map was very important to him. Great-grandfather, father, you came at the right time. This person stole the God-slaying map and trapped me here. Jun family's young lord Jun Rui was pleasantly surprised. He said to great ancestor and Jun Tianjian. He even told Uncle Chang and them to scram. Jun Taizu interrupted Jun Rui and said, I understand. He looked at Lu Yiping with an expressionless face. Your Excellency's comprehension of the law of space and gravity is not bad. Great ancestor would like to learn a few moves from you. When Taurus Longjiao heard ancestor Jun say that Lu Yiping's comprehension of the law of gravity was good, he sneered. However, he couldn't blame ancestor Jun. After all, ancestor Jun's realm was limited and his eyesight was limited. Indifferent, the head of the Jun family, Jun Tianjian, looked at Taurus Longjiao. Is it very funny? Taurus Longjiao said to ancestor Jun. There's no need to fight with my master. I'll play with you. Jun Taizu was stunned and his expression turned ugly. Play a trick? Did the other party mean that he could decide the outcome of the battle with a single move? Jun Tianjian stepped forward and looked at Taurus Longjiao indifferent. Since that's the case, I'll play with you. After dealing with you, I'll deal with your master. After saying that, he released his aura as the master of this plane, and the sword light around his body surged. Under Jun Tianjian's powerful aura, Hao Bai Qi Yifan Tao Haiba, and the rest felt their bodies tighten, as if the world around them was about to collapse. Then Hao Bai and the rest saw Jun Tianjian's sword light spread out like waves, surging continuously. In the end, there were more than 1,000,000 sword lights. These million sword lights continued to evolve, forming a huge sword array. Using sword qi to form a sword array, one could see how high Jun Tianjian's sword Dao was. As the number 1 array master in the firmament god region, ancestor Jun Tianjian's array skills were naturally high. He had already integrated array skills into his sword Dao. Endless sword qi, endless array skills. As the sword light surged, it was as if the sun, moon, mountains, and rivers were rising and falling. Sun, moon, mountains, and rivers sword array. Qi Yifan looked at the sword array around Jun Tianjian and exclaimed. Jun Tianjian's sun, moon, mountains, and rivers sword array was famous in the firmament god region. Everyone in the firmament god region knew that once this sword array was used, the sun and moon would sink, mountains and rivers would shatter. Jun Tianjian waved his hands. Suddenly, the sun, moon, mountains, and rivers sword array broke through the sky, and the 1,000,000 sword lights formed a sword array that attacked Taurus Longjiao. When the million sword lights attacked Taurus Longjiao, the sun and moon rose and fell as the sword lights flowed. Mountains collapsed and rivers were cut. Looking at the million sword lights of the sun, moon, mountains and river sword array, Taurus Longjiao smiled and said, "It's still a bit powerful." Then he did not make a move. He stood there and allowed the million sword lights of the sun, moon, mountains and river sword array to hit him. Clang, clang, clang. When the million sword lights of the sun, moon, mountains and river sword array hit him, there was a crisp sound. Taurus Longjiao stood there, like a chaotic divine mountain, emitting a faint golden light. When the million sword lights of the sun, moon, mountains and river sword array hit him, he did not move at all. The million strands of sword energy struck its body, but it was like a gentle breeze had blown through its body. No, it couldn't even be considered a gentle breeze because even the corner of its clothes hadn't been blown up at all. Hao Bai was stunned. The Jun family's young master Jun Rui and the others were stunned. Even Jun Tianjian, who was controlling the sun, moon, mountains and river sword array, trembled. He looked at Taurus Longjiao, who was standing there unharmed, in disbelief. Jun Taizu was also in disbelief. In the end, the sword lights of the sun, moon, mountains and river sword array dissipated. Taurus Longjiao looked at Jun Tianjian and said, "Your understanding of the sword array is not bad, but it's a pity that your strength is too weak." The Jun family's patriarchs had complicated expressions. One had to know that their patriarch was the Jun family's genius. His cultivation speed was extremely fast, and his strength was even higher than many of the older generation experts. He was an expert who had cultivated more than 1.3 million planar strength, and his strength was too weak? Taurus Longjiao said again, "You also take this move from Old Bull?" With that, the million sword lights of his body flew out and hit Jun Tianjian. Similarly, the sun and moon sank and the mountains and rivers shattered, but it was stronger and faster than Jun Tianjian's. Sun, moon, mountains and river sword array? Jun Tianjian looked at the million sword lights in shock. Taurus Longjiao was also using the sun, moon, mountains and river sword array. Just as Taurus Longjiao was using the sun, moon, mountains and river sword array to attack Jun Tianjian, Zither God Fu Chao was flying rapidly toward the Guiyuan Sword School. He was already close to the Guiyuan Sword School. Su Chaoyin, who was waiting for Zither God Fu Chao near the Guiyuan Sword School, also received the news that Zither God Fu Chao was about to arrive. "Zither God Old Ancestor is about to arrive. Let's go and welcome him." Su Chaoyin brought "What do you mean" to the mountain near the Guiyuan Sword School. The two had just arrived when they saw a figure flying through the air. It was Zither God Fu Chao. "Greetings to Zither God Old Ancestor." Su Chaoyin hurried forward to greet him. Zither God Fu Chao nodded and let Su Chaoyin and Su Chaoyin rise. He brought the two of them into the air and soon arrived above the Guiyuan Sword School. At this time, the Sword School assembly was not over yet. The experts from all sides were still competing. Zither God Fu Chao's aura swept out, and the experts from all sides were shocked. In the Guiyuan ancestral land, Feng Wan, Chu Tong, and the others also felt Zither God Fu Chao's powerful aura. They were shocked and flew out of the ancestral land. Chapter 125. Zither God Fu Chao. Feng Wan, who had just come out of the ancestral land, was shocked to see the blue-haired old man beside Su Chaoyin. Kong Yifan and the other ancestors were even more shocked. They couldn't be blamed for being shocked. Zither God Fu Chao was too famous. Before they had made a name for themselves, Zither God Fu Chao's name had already resounded throughout the Zhoutian. Zither God Fu Chao was already in invincible existence before he went into seclusion. Since his debut, Zither God Fu Chao had never lost a battle. There were too many legends about Zither God Fu Chao. Although Feng Wan was the second strongest person in the Guiyuan Sword School, he was only a junior in front of Zither God Fu Chao. In the distance, experts from various forces were in an uproar when they heard Feng Wan's surprised voice. "It's ancestor Zither God Fu Chao. Lord Zither God Fu Chao. Lord Zither God Fu Chao has returned to the world." Experts from various sects and families were so excited that they knelt down in front of Fu Chao. Many of the disciples who were still competing also stopped. Tens of thousands of disciples, elders, grand elders, and even ancestors and patriarchs from the various families and sects cheered with fervor. For a moment, the Guiyuan Sword School was filled with the words "Zither God Fu Chao." It was as if the sword school assembly had turned into a zither god assembly. This was the prestige of zither god Fu Chao. Although Chu Tong was the ancestor of the Guiyuan sword school, and the strongest person in the firmament god region, he didn't have such prestige. Even the disciples of the Guiyuan sword school were excited. Chu Tong led Feng Wen and the other ancestors of the Guiyuan sword school out to welcome Fu Chao. His heart sank when he saw Fu Chao arrive. He didn't expect Fu Chao to come out of seclusion for the snow of heaven and earth and come to the Guiyuan sword school in person. Chu Tong's face was solemn. So it's senior zither god. Arriving in front of zither god Fu Chao, Chu Tong took a step forward and cupped his fists. We didn't know that senior zither god was coming, please forgive us. Looking at the neither servile nor overbearing Chu Tong, Fu Chao was expressionless. There's no need for pleasantries. I believe you know why I'm here. He paused for a moment and then said, have Lu Yiping hand over the snowman universe. Also, the famous ancient zither black dragon chain is in his hands, right? Ask him to hand it over and give it to Su Chaoyin, a disciple of our chain and painting school, as an apology. Chu Tong and Feng Wen's faces turned ugly. Zither god Fu Chao was famous throughout the Joqian during the Holy Devil era. But he was also famous for being protective. However, this protectiveness was a bit excessive. Not only did he want the snowman universe back, but he also wanted the black dragon chain in Lu Yiping's hands. Feng Wen couldn't help but say, it was Su Chaoyin who took the initiative to compete with Lord Lu. Before the competition, she was the one who proposed that if she lost, she would give the snowman universe to Lord Lu. Everyone heard and saw it. Since Su Chaoyin lost, the snowman universe naturally belongs to Lord Lu. Now that Lord Fu Chao is here, not only does he want Lord Lu to return the snowman universe, but he also wants Lord Lu to hand over the black dragon chain and apologize. Isn't this a bit unreasonable? Feng Wen's voice resounded through the Guiyuan sword school. Fu Chao's eyes were cold. Who do you think you are? I'm talking to your ancestral master. When did you have the right to interrupt? Finishing his words, he waved his sleeves. Countless zither sounds were born, releasing a brilliant light. These zither sounds carried a destructive power that blasted towards Feng Wen. They were so fast. Even Chu Tong couldn't stop them in time. Feng Wen was shocked. The power of the plane surged from his body, and a divine sword appeared in his hand. Thousands of sword rays shot out in an attempt to block the zither music. However, the zither music instantly pierced through the layers of sword rays. Feng Wen's body trembled, and he was forced back by the zither sounds. He retreated several hundred li before stopping. Feng Wen's throat heated up and he spat out blood. Kong Yifan and the rest of the Guiyuan sword school's ancestral masters were shocked. Although Feng Wen was an early-stage lord of a plane, he was much stronger than Qin Huai of the Taiqing sword school. Qin Huai only had 1 million units of plane power. Feng Wen was an early-stage lord of a plane who had cultivated 9 million units of plane power. However, Feng Wen, who had cultivated 9 million units of plane power, couldn't even block a wave of his sleeves. He was sent flying. Chu Tong was also surprised. Once one broke through 10 million units of plane power, they would be mid-stage lord of a plane. Feng Wen could be said to be at the peak of the early-stage lord of a plane. However, Fu Chao waved his sleeves and sent him flying. He looked at Fu Chao and said, Senior Fu Chao, I respect you as a senior. However, you came to my Guiyuan sword school and unreasonably asked for Snow of the Universe Black Dragon Qin, and Feng Wen were just stating the facts. However, you flew into a rage out of humiliation and attacked him. This is a bit too much. Hearing this, Fu Chao suddenly laughed loudly. He looked at Chu Tong and said, Are you questioning me? Chu Tong said in a low voice, You can think of it that way. Fu Chao smiled brightly and said, So you're saying that you don't want Lu Yiping to hand over Snow of the Universe and Black Dragon Qin? Chu Tong looked at Fu Chao with a resolute gaze and said, That's right. I won't hand over Snow of the Universe, and I have even less reason to hand over the Black Dragon Qin. The various experts had already quieted down. Everyone looked nervously at the sky, at Fu Chao and Chu Tong. Fu Chao's smile was still the same. Chu Tong, you're already a fool to offend the Taiqing sword school for Lu Yiping. Right now, I'm only asking Lu Yiping to hand over Snow of the Universe and Black Dragon Qin. I'm not asking Lu Yiping to take his life. Have you thought this through? Are you really not going to hand over Snow of the Universe and Black Dragon Qin? Are you really going to offend me and the Qin and Painting School? If you offend the Taiqing Sword School, perhaps your Guyuan Sword School won't be destroyed. However, if you offend me, if you offend the Qin and Painting School, your Guyuan Sword School will be destroyed. The Guyuan Sword School will be destroyed. Fu Chao's voice was heavy. Each word hammered the hearts of the Guyuan Sword School's disciples, elders, grandelders, and ancestors. The various experts could feel the chill from Fu Chao's body, and they all held their breaths. Xiao Yu, the host of the Sword School's assembly, was so nervous that his palms were sweating. Fu Chao was not the same as Qin Huai from the Taiqing Sword School. Sun Hongyuan stood behind Xiao Yu. His entire body was tense, and he muttered softly, "Founder, you wouldn't really offend the Guqin god over two zither, right? Wouldn't it be fine if we just ask Lu Yiping to hand over Snow of the Universe and Black Dragon Qin?" At the same time, his hatred for Lu Yiping grew. If it weren't for that Lu Yiping, our Guyuan Sword School wouldn't have been in so much trouble recently. That Lu Yiping deserves to die. In the sky, Chu Tong looked at Fu Chao and said, "I've already said that I won't hand over Snow of the Universe, and I won't hand over the Black Dragon Qin either." Fu Chao's realm power surged, and his aura swept out. The smile on his face disappeared, and his eyes gradually turned cold. "It seems that you're quite confident in your strength. You think you can fight me?" Chu Tong stared at Fu Chao, and two swords appeared in his hands. "Please enlighten me, Senior." Chapter 126. Indifferent, Fu Chao looked at Chu Tong, who was covered in sword qi, and said, "Good, I haven't fought for many years. Today, I will show the Zither gods Tao to the world. Let the world open their eyes." His robe fluttered despite the lack of wind, and a terrifying pressure enveloped heaven and earth like a mountain, causing turbulence in the air. Su Qiaoyin, what do you mean, had already retreated far away. Kong Yifan and the Guyuan Sword School's ancestors had also retreated far away. Various sects and families' disciples had also retreated to a safe place. As Fu Chao's momentum was released, wind and thunder rumbled in the sky. Thunderclouds gathered and a hurricane formed. Around Fu Chao, Zither runes appeared on their own. No Zither. But the Zither runes appeared on their own. This was no longer an ordinary Zither immortal's realm. Chu Tong's body was surrounded by sword qi. In the beginning, the sword qi was as soft as the wind, as fine as water, but as the sword qi increased, the sword qi became increasingly violent, like a monstrous wave, like an apocalyptic storm. The sword qi emitted all kinds of subtle sounds that contained the Tao of heaven and earth. Like 10,000 beasts galloping. Like a million thunder drums. Like a rushing waterfall between high mountains. In Chu Tong's hands, one on the left and one on the right, one on the black and one on the red, the two swords in his hands shone even brighter. The two of them faced each other in the sky. Balls of light spread out from their bodies, and invisible waves of energy collided, causing a series of explosions. Although the two of them had yet to make a move, the power exuding from their bodies was enough to make the surrounding experts tremble. Even early world lords like Feng Wen and Kong Yifan were shocked. Fu Chao's Zither Tao has surpassed the Zither Immortals? Kong Yifan exclaimed. Feng Wen shook his head. The Zither Immortals' realm is already the peak in modern times. How could it be so easy to surpass it? Then he added, but Fu Chao's Zither Tao has undoubtedly surpassed many Zither Immortals. Suddenly, Fu Chao's 10 fingers plucked at the air in front of him. In an instant, the zither sounds that filled the sky rushed towards Chu Tong like a tidal wave. Some of these notes were as big as a seat, while others were as small as a needle. Some turned into ancient divine beasts. Some were divine blades and sharp blades. It was truly ever-changing. Every sound of the zither was a kind of power. Looking at the gigantic wave, the ever-changing Guqin music covered the sky and the earth. Everyone was shocked. The Guqin deity's Guqin Tao has far surpassed mine. Su Qiaoyin exclaimed in admiration. That guy with the surname Lu said that above the Guqin immortal, there is the Qin emperor and Qin ancestor. What do you mean? The Guqin deity's Guqin Tao has probably reached the level of the Qin emperor, or even the level of Qin ancestor. Amidst the crowd's exclamations, Chu Tong simultaneously slashed out with both swords. When Chu Tong slashed out with his two swords, One black and one red, two streaks of sword light, with an unparalleled momentum, instantly plowed away the earth-shattering waves of zither music. What a powerful sword energy! Lord Chu Tong's sword Dao has endless power. Has he reached the 10,000 Laws realm? In the distance, a sect master exclaimed in admiration. Above the sword of creation was the sword of laws, and above the laws was the 10,000 Laws realm. The 10,000 Laws realm was something that even many of the Jiuqian elders couldn't comprehend. It should be. A famous sword Dao ancestor in the firmament divine region said solemnly, and he hasn't just entered the 10,000 Laws realm. Chu Tong's sword light plowed through the zither music, and the zither music continued to bombard him. The power of the collision between the sword light and the zither music sputtered in all directions. A streak of sword energy splashed on a mountain peak in the distance. The mountain peak was instantly pierced through, and a straight tunnel appeared in the middle of the mountain peak. The energy of the zither music splashed everywhere, and the surrounding ground was riddled with holes. Huge craters appeared one after another. In the end, the zither music and sword energy dissipated. Fu Chao stared at Chu Tong and said indifferently, "The 10,000 Laws sword. Unfortunately, you haven't reached the late stage of the Lord of a Plane, so today you will lose." When one's world energy exceeded 30 million units, one would reach the late stage of the Lord of a Plane. But Chu Tong's world energy was more than 29 million units. As Fu Chao said this, 40 million units of world energy gushed out crazily. With a wave of his hands, heaven and earth shook. The zither music that filled the sky set off thousands of waves that smashed towards Chu Tong. This time the zither waves were even stronger, coming from all directions. Moreover, Fu Chao had infused 40 million units of world energy into them. The zither music filled heaven and earth. Everyone's mind was filled with Fu Chao's zither music. Chu Tong's entire body emitted sword light as he slashed out with both hands. When he slashed out with both swords, the crowd had an illusion that Chu Tong wasn't slashing out with sword energy. Chu Tong disappeared from the world. Only sword energy and zither music remained between heaven and earth. Bang! A series of loud bangs followed. This was the sound of sword and zither's destructive power colliding. Dazzling lights burst out continuously. After a long time, when the sword energy and zither music dissipated, Chu Tong, who had disappeared from the world, once again appeared in the same place. Chu Tong stood there and suddenly blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. His imposing figure that was originally standing between heaven and earth swayed. Feng Wan, Kong Yifan and the others' expressions changed. It was obvious that Chu Tong was injured in the previous attack. The Guiyuan Sword School's disciples who were still holding on to hope felt their hearts sink. Although Chu Tong hadn't lost yet, if the battle dragged on, defeat was only a matter of time. Chu Tong stood there smiling bitterly. Although he had comprehended the 10,000 sword technique, his cultivation realm was still a little lower than Fu Chao's. Fu Chao had already broken through to the late stage of the Lord of a Plane. Although Huang Xiaolong was a peak mid-stage Lord of a Plane, there was a difference of 10 million units between the two of them. Indifferent, Fu Chao looked at Chu Tong. "Chu Tong, let me ask you again, are you going to hand over the snowy universe or not? Are you going to hand over the black dragon Qin or not? I'll give you 1 minute to think carefully before answering." His gaze swept over Feng Wan, Kong Yifan and the dozen others. "If you don't hand it over in 1 minute, they'll all die. Do you want the zither? Or do you want to save their lives?" Feng Wan, Kong Yifan, and the rest of the Guiyuan Sword School's ancestors were enraged. Just as Chu Tong was about to speak, an indifferent voice sounded from the void, "You can't take their lives. Your life is mine." Everyone was stunned. At the same time, in the Wind Lightning Manor's city courtyard, Lu Yiping's palm suddenly pressed into the void. The void shattered as his palm force penetrated through layers of space, breaking through layers upon layers of space obstacles. Following that, a giant palm imprint appeared above the Guiyuan sect. Then, like the Buddha's hand, the giant palm imprint emitted a resplendent Buddhist aura as it slammed down. Buddha's wrath. His voice reverberated through heaven and earth. Zither god Fu Chao was terrified. He wanted to flee, but he realized that he couldn't move under the pressure of the giant palm imprint. He couldn't even move. Before the Buddha's palm could land, the terrifying power had already ripped his robe apart. Even the supreme grade divine armor on his body exploded. It was as if the supreme-grade divine armor was just a piece of paper. Boom! Fu Chao was pressed down by the giant palm. It slammed into a mountain peak. The mountain peak exploded. The palm force continued to press down. The mountain peak crumbled into dust. Everything within 1,000 li radius was reduced to dust, turning into a flat land. At the center of the flat land was a giant palm imprint of unknown depth. Chapter 127. Su Chaoyin covered her cherry mouth as she looked at the zither god, Fu Chao, who was blasted into the deep pit with her beautiful eyes. Yi, on the other hand, was completely stiff and motionless. It was unknown whether he was stunned or scared silly. The eyes of the experts attending the sword school assembly were filled with shock. This sudden turn of events left the crowd with nothing but astonishment and shock. Shock and awe. The famous Jyotian zither god Fu Chao from the Shungma era was smashed into the ground by the sudden appearance of the Buddha palm. There was no suspense, no power to resist, and no chance to escape. Just what kind of mighty power was this, to be able to suppress an old antique of the 9 heavens, who had already been sealed as a god, to the point of exploding with a single palm? Feng Wen, Kong Yifan, and the others were still in shock, but they recalled the voice just now. You can't take their lives, but I'll take yours. That voice was very familiar. They had spent all their time with the owner of that voice these past few days. But didn't the owner of that voice leave the Guan Sword School this morning? Could he be nearby? Not far away. Sun Hongyuan, who was standing beside Qiuyu, also felt a chill run down his spine. He seemed to be quite familiar with that voice as well. The people of the Guyuan sword sect couldn't see Lu Yiping's attack because they were separated by layers of space. However, Ancestor Jun, the experts of the Jun family, Hao Bai, Qi Yifan, and Tao Haiba could see it clearly. They saw Lu Yiping shatter space with a single palm, the palm energy passing through layers of space and directly smashing the zither god Fu Chao into the ground. Taurus Longjiao used the Sun Moon Mountain River Sword formation to send Jun Tianjian flying. Ancestor Jun was about to make a move when he saw Lu Yiping smashing the zither god Fu Chao into the ground through layers of space. His eyes were filled with shock. Although this was the Firmament Divine region, the Guyuan Sword School was in the Azure Cloud Mansion, and whose city was in the Wind Thunder Mansion. How many tens of thousands of li were the two places separated? How could a person's strength be so tyrannical? Although the master of the plane could control the power of the plane, there was a limit to how much power he could wield. After blasting out tens of thousands of miles, his power would be exhausted. However, Lu Yiping's palm force had passed through space for tens of thousands of miles. Not only was the force not exhausted, it even directly suppressed a Jyotian old man into the ground. At this time, Lu Yiping made a grabbing motion in the air. In the sky above Guyuan Sword School, the giant handprint appeared again. Just when everyone thought that the giant palm was going to continue attacking zither god Fu Chao, the giant palm suddenly pulled Fu Chao out from the deep pit in the ground. Then, it shattered the space above and carried Fu Chao into the depths of space, disappearing from everyone's sight in an instant. Looking at the closed and shattered sky, everyone was stunned for a long time. The sun was still shining brightly above Guyuan Sword School. Everything was fine and sunny. Was everything just a dream? However, there was still a huge Buddha palm imprint on the ground. The Buddhist light was still flowing out from the deep pit. The surrounding mountain peaks that had been flattened by the Buddha palm were still blowing sand and dust. Chu Tong's expression was the same as usual. He swallowed a healing pill and said to everyone in a clear voice, "Everyone, it's all right now. Please don't spread what happened today." However, he also knew that it wouldn't be long before this matter would shake the Jyotian. Just as Chu Tong was about to turn around and enter the Guyuan ancestral land, Lu Yiping's voice sounded, "Su Chaoyin and Luo Yuan, kill them." Chu Tong was startled. He turned to look at the distant Su Chaoyin and Luo Yuan. "What do you mean?" Black and white swords appeared in their hands. "Su Chaoyin, and what do you mean?" Both of them felt Chu Tong's killing intent. Their expressions changed and they were about to flee. However, as soon as they turned around, they were submerged by the sword chi that filled the sky. After a while, the two of them completely dissipated along with the sword chi. Chu Tong sheathed his swords and turned around to enter the Guyuan Sword School's ancestral land. Kong Yifan and the others gulped as they watched Chu Tong's figure. Their hearts were filled with complicated emotions. Earlier, they had even tried to persuade their founder to capture Lu Yiping and hand him over to the Taiching Sword School as an apology. Now that they thought about it, their hearts were filled with shame, and their backs were drenched in cold sweat. Kong Yifan and the others followed Chu Tong into the ancestral land. Everyone was stunned for a long time as they watched Chu Tong kill Su Chaoyin and Luo Yuan. After Chu Tong and the others entered the ancestral land, Qiu Yu, Sun Hongyuan and the others stood up. Lord Qiu Yu, do you think that voice just now was? Sun Hongyuan asked, his voice trembling. Qiu Yu stared at the Buddha's palm on the ground and remained silent for a long time. In a small courtyard in Lake City, Fu Chao was thrown to the ground by Lu Yiping. Lu Yiping had held back so Fu Chao didn't die. Seeing Fu Chao thrown to the ground like a dead dog and on the verge of death, Ancestor Jun and the others felt an indescribable feeling. Fu Chao's body was covered in cracks and bloody wounds. He looked at Lu Yiping, his heart filled with fear. Who are you? Before you came, you didn't ask Su Chaoyin what I looked like? Lu Yiping said indifferently. You're Lu Yiping. Fu Chao's long blue hair shook, shaking off some of the dust on it. He was from the same generation as the holy demon. Before he went into seclusion, he was titled as the Zither God and had experienced countless battles. But now, facing Lu Yiping, he only felt deep fear. This was because the strength that Lu Yiping had displayed was simply too shocking. It had completely exceeded his understanding. Hearing Fu Chao say that the blue-robed young man in front of them was Lu Yiping, Ancestor Jun Tianjian, and the others were shocked and surprised. Chu Tong had protected Lu Yiping and clashed with the Taiching Sword School. This matter had caused a stir in the Firmament Divine region recently. This person was actually Lu Yiping? At this moment, a snow-white zither appeared in front of Lu Yiping. It was Snow Fills the Universe. Lu Yiping glanced at Fu Chao and said indifferently, the zither is here. Come and get it. Fu Chao waved his hand in shock. Sir, please spare my life on account of my ignorance. I won't dare to offend the Guiyuan Sword School and sir again next time. Lu Yiping said coldly, you think there will be a next time? If I hadn't acted in time, the Guiyuan Sword School would have flowed with rivers of blood. While Fu Chao was still in shock, Lu Yiping waved his hand and Snow Fills the Universe rumbled. Countless zither notes flew out and blasted into Fu Chao's body. Then Fu Chao exploded, a mist of blood flying. Zither God Fu Chao was dead. Seeing the famous Jochin Zither God Fu Chao die in front of them like this in the Holy Demon era, Ancestor Jun Tianjian, and the others felt their hands and feet turn cold. Lu Yiping turned his head and his gaze fell on Ancestor Jun. I'll give you two choices. The first is that the Jun family and the Guiyuan Sword School form an alliance. In the future, you will follow the Guiyuan Sword School's lead. The second is that you will die like Fu Chao. Ancestor Jun's expression changed. After a while, he took a deep breath and cupped his fists at Lu Yiping. The Jun family is willing to form an alliance with the Guiyuan Sword School. Please rest assured, Lord. In the future, I will follow the Guiyuan Sword School's lead. Qi Yifan also stepped forward. The Black Wind sect is willing to form an alliance with the Guiyuan Sword School. In the future, we will follow the Guiyuan Sword School's lead. Tao Haiba added, the Tao family is willing to form an alliance with the Guiyuan Sword School. We will follow the Guiyuan Sword School's lead. The other patriarchs also chimed in. Oh, you're the Black Wind sect's ancestor and the Tao family's ancestor? Lu Yiping looked at Qi Yifan and Tao Haiba in surprise. Qi Yifan and Tao Haiba's hearts skipped a beat when they saw Lu Yiping's strange expression. Fan family, do you still remember? Lu Yiping asked. Originally, he didn't want to interfere with the Fan family's matters, but since he ran into them, he might as well solve it. Chapter 128. Hearing Lu Yiping mention the Fan family, Qi Yifan, Tao Haiba, and the other two ancestors from the Black Wind sect and Tao family panicked. Lord, the Fan family's ancestor betrayed us. Qi Yifan tried to defend himself. Taurus Longjiao interrupted, as far as we know, the Fan family's ancestor saved your Black Wind sect, but you joined forces with the Tao family to annihilate the Fan family. It's you who betrayed us, isn't it? Qi Yifan and Tao Haiba groaned. With a flick of his fingers, Lu Yiping shattered Qi Yifan, Tao Haiba, and the others' godheads and meridians. However, he didn't kill them, only sparing their lives. Subsequently, Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao left the courtyard with Hao Bai and his disciples, heading back to the Guiyuan Sword School. Of course, ancestor Jun Tianjian and the others followed behind them. While Lu Yiping was on his way back to the Guiyuan Sword School, the news of the Zither God's appearance and his defeat at the Guiyuan Sword School spread like wildfire. Jutian was shaken. Zither domain. The Qin and Painting School sect chief Hua Rushing was in the main hall, looking at the Grand Elder reporting to him with disbelief. "You, what did you say? The Zither God's ancestor was defeated by a Buddha's palm." "Yes, Lord Sect Chief." The Qin and Painting School's Grand Elder was kneeling on the ground, sobbing as he said, "According to one of the sect chiefs present, the Zither God's ancestor defeated Chu Tong's sword of 10,000 laws. Chu Tong was supposed to lose, but a Buddha's palm suddenly appeared, pressing the Zither God's ancestor into the ground. The Zither God didn't even have a chance to escape. That Buddha's palm was too strong." The sovereign of the Qin and Painting School, Hua Rushing, who was originally standing, fell back onto his throne. Hua Rushing muttered to himself in a daze. Even the Zither God, a late-stage lord of a plane, was suppressed into the ground with a single palm strike. What happened after that? Suddenly, he asked the Grand Elder with hope in his eyes. The Grand Elder didn't dare to conceal the truth. He answered, "Later, old ancestor Zither God was taken away by the other party and disappeared. However, before he disappeared, there were people who said that old ancestor Zither God's godhead and meridians were shattered, and he was on the verge of death." Hua Rushing, who had been filled with hope, opened his mouth and sat there in a daze. The Grand Elder stammered also. "After the Zither deity old ancestor was captured, Chu Tong killed goddess Su Chawin and Lord, what do you mean?" Hua Rushing, who had suffered a huge blow, couldn't help but be enraged. "Chu Tong, you dare to kill my disciple." However, not only did Chu Tong dare to do so, he even killed 2 people in a row. "Guiyuan Sword School. My Qin and Painting School will not rest until you're dead," Hua Rushing roared. The Grand Elder was speechless when he saw the usually refined Hua Rushing's ferocious expression. However, the Qin and Painting School sect master was afraid that the Zither God was suppressed and 2 of his disciples were killed. No matter who it was, the Qin and Painting School sect master would go crazy. A while later, when Hua Rushing calmed down, the Grand Elder said, "Sect master, the Guiyuan Sword School has such an expert. In my opinion, our Qin and Painting School should make further plans." At this time, a voice drifted out from the Qin and Painting School's ancestral land. "Don't touch the Guiyuan Sword School for the time being." There wasn't a trace of emotion in the voice, and it made one's hair stand on end. This feeling was akin to being targeted by a terrifying devil. Hearing this voice, Hua Rushing hurriedly knelt down in front of the ancestral land and bowed. Hua Rushing obeys old ancestor Emoju's divine decree. Old ancestor Emoju. When the Grand Elder heard Hua Rushing's name, he suddenly thought of a person and felt his body turn cold. He crawled on the ground, not daring to move. Qin Emoju was the same as Qin god Fu Chao. They were both experts of the Qin and Painting School's generation. Moreover, the 2 of them were fellow disciples under Tiansong Shangren. However, Qin Emoju kept a low profile and rarely took action. His fame wasn't as high as Qin god Fu Chao's, but the experts of the Qin and Painting School knew that Qin Emoju's strength was above Qin god Fu Chao's. In the past, Qin Emoju suddenly disappeared, and the Qin and Painting School announced to the public that Qin Emoju had fallen. But now he was actually still alive? Could it be that Qin Emoju had been hiding in the ancestral land to cultivate a secret art? Investigate clearly who used the Buddha's palm, and what relationship he has with the Guiyuan Sword School. Hua Rushing's voice sounded. "Investigate clearly and report to me immediately." "Yes, please rest assured, old ancestor Emoju," Hua Rushing respectfully replied. The voice disappeared. At this time in the Taiqing Sword School's main hall, Zhang Sangchong looked at the Taiqing Sword School's sect master Bu Yun and asked indifferent, "Have you investigated clearly? Did Chu Tong really kill Qin Huai, 7 heavenly deities and close to 100 true deities?" Taiqing Sword School's sect master Bu Yun respectfully replied, "Reporting to old ancestor Shangqing, the investigation has been completed. Qin Huai and the others have indeed died in the Guiyuan Sword School's ancestral land." Zhang Sangchong suddenly raised his head and laughed angrily. His voice was filled with a strong killing intent. What a great Guiyuan sword school. First, they killed my Taiching sword school's old ancestor Ojin Guk. I sent people over to question them, and now they've even killed all the people I sent. Chu Tong, if I don't destroy your Guiyuan sword school and kill that Lu Yiping, then I, Zhang Sangchong, am not Zhang Sangchong. Zhang Sangchong's voice resounded in the main hall. Then, he said to the Taiching sword school's sect master, I'm making a trip to the Guiyuan sword school right now. Just as Zhang Sangchong was about to leave, a Taiching sword school's grand elder ran in anxiously and reported to Zhang Sangchong and Bu Yun, reporting to old ancestor Shangqing and Lord Sect Master. News has just come from the Guiyuan sword school. The zither god Lord Fu Chao arrived at the Guiyuan sword school. However, he was suppressed underground by a mysterious person using a supreme Buddha's palm. Zhang Sangchong and Chu Yun were stunned. What did you say? The zither god has appeared? Bu Yun didn't dare to believe it. He was suppressed by a mysterious expert from the Guiyuan sword school? Yes. That grand elder hurriedly recounted the news he received. When Zhang Sangchong and Chu Yun heard that the zither god Fu Chao had defeated Chu Tong, but was suddenly suppressed underground by a Buddha's palm, the two of them were filled with shock. Suppressing and suppressing with a single move were two different things. There are also people who say that this mysterious expert is Lu Yiping. That grand elder added. What Lu Yiping? Zhang Sangchong and Chu Yun trembled. Zhang Sangchong swallowed his saliva, his throat dry and itchy. Are you sure? Chu Yun asked, feeling his heart tighten. Not yet. There are people who say that the mysterious expert's voice sounded like Lu Yiping's, but no one saw Lu Yiping's attack. That grand elder continued, however. There are also people who say that it wasn't Lu Yiping. Lu Yiping left the Guiyuan sword school a long time ago. Use all your resources to investigate, as fast as possible. Find out if Lu Yiping wasn't in the Guiyuan sword school at that time. Zhang Sangchong said with a solemn expression. That grand elder acknowledged the order and left. Watching that grand elder leave, Zhang Sangchong's expression changed. Just a moment ago, he had said that he would make a trip to the Guiyuan sword school to destroy the Guiyuan sword school and Lu Yiping. What about now? He was strong, but he was only on par with the zither god Fu Chao. Chapter 129. The Taiching Sword School Sect Master. Chu Yun glanced at Zhang Sangchong. Just a moment ago, Zhang Sangchong had said that he wouldn't be Zhang Sangchong if he didn't destroy the Guiyuan sword school and kill Lu Yiping. Zhang Sangchong's face turned red when he felt the strange gaze of the Taiching Sword School's sect master Chu Yun. While everyone was still in shock over zither god Fu Chao's matter, within the ancestral grounds of the Kuanpeng divine sect in the demon god domain, the Kuanpeng divine sect's sect head Fei Jia was currently reporting to the old ancestor of the Kuanpeng divine sect, Lei Yu, about zither god Fu Chao. Oh, suppressing Fu Chao with one palm? Lei Yu was surprised. Yes. Rumors have it that Lu Yiping did it, but it hasn't been confirmed yet, Fei Jia said respectfully. I also found out that Lu Yiping killed Zhang Yu in the Hengyuan plain. Lei Yu nodded and said, if it was really Lu Yiping, then he isn't weak. However, he didn't put it to heart. To him, suppressing Fu Chao was just not weak. The heavenly steel is about to appear, right? Lei Yu suddenly asked. Fei Jia was stunned. Then he said respectfully, yes, it's about to appear. Lei Yu said, when the heavenly steel appears, I will comprehend the heavenly steel's supreme art. I will definitely be able to break through. An aura stronger than Fu Chao's filled the Kuanping divine sect's ancestral grounds. Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao returned to the Guiyuan sword school. When Kong Yifan and the others faced Lu Yiping, their expressions didn't change. Now that they faced Lu Yiping again, they were submissive. When they passed by the divine sacred hall, they even held their breaths and were extremely careful. It was as if they were afraid of stepping on lightning. When Feng Wan and the others learned that Ancestor Jun and the other sect's ancestors had come to form an alliance with the Guiyuan Sword School, they were naturally delighted. Lu Yiping didn't care about the alliance. He brought Hao Bai into the divine sacred hall and took out the fortune jade disc. Hao Bai was surprised when he saw the jade. He said, Lord, is the jade in your hand is the one I left in the heavenly demon tribe's ancestral shrine? That's right. Lu Yiping asked, I want to know, where did you get this jade? Hao Bai finally understood why Lu Yu was looking at him. Could it be that this piece of jade had a secret that he didn't know? Hao Bai recalled for a moment and said, I bought this jade in the ancient city of the Great Void region. You bought it? Lu Yiping was surprised. Originally, he had guessed that Hao Bai had found the good fortune jade disc in some dangerous or precious place. Yes. Hao Bai nodded. Although many years have passed, I still remember that I bought it from an old shop in the ancient mystic city. The shop owner said that the jade disc was his family's heirloom, so the price was a little high. I was a peak late-stage true god at the time, so I spent 100 million divine-grade spirit stones to buy it. Hao Bai had traveled far and wide, so he didn't have much savings. 100 million divine-grade spirit stones wasn't cheap for a true god who didn't have much wealth. Hao Bai said, at the time I felt that this jade disc was extraordinary, so I spent a lot of money to buy it. After I bought it, I returned to the heavenly demon tribe, but I couldn't figure out its secret. I only know that it can calm the mind and repel evil spirits. After I became a heavenly god, this jade disc wasn't very useful to me, so I left it in the heavenly demon tribe's ancestral shrine. Lu Yiping flicked his finger and a huge heaven-grade origin stone flew out. A heaven-grade origin stone? Hao Bai was shocked. A heaven-grade spirit stone was priceless in the Jiutian. It was many times more valuable than a divine-grade spirit stone. Needless to say, an uncut heaven-grade origin stone was even more valuable. This heaven-grade origin stone can be cut into 10 million pieces, Lu Yiping said. Please take me to the old shop in the ancient mystic city. Hao Bai was a little scared when he heard this. He quickly waved his hand and said, Lord, you saved me earlier. I can't accept this heaven-grade origin stone. Whenever Lord wants, I can take you to the old shop. How could he dare to take Lu Yiping's money? Take it, Lu Yiping said. This is another matter. Hao Bai hesitated for a moment, then put away the heaven-grade origin stone. Hao Bai, thanks, Lord. Then he said, actually, this lowly one has a favor to ask of Lord. Lu Yiping said, speak. My disciple Su-yi, whether it is talent or nature, this child is not bad. He has been following me around all these years, roaming the world and has suffered a lot. Therefore I want him to stay in the Guan sword school. I sincerely hope Lord can take him in. Hao Bai pleaded. So that's how it is. Lu Yiping smiled and said, looking at your serious face, I thought it was something important. All right, I'll talk to Chu Tong later. When the time comes, he will stay in the Guan sword school, and let Feng Wen give him some pointers. When Hao Bai heard this, he happily thanked Lu Yiping. Lu Yiping told Hao Bai to get up and called Chu Tong over. He told him about Hao Bai's disciple Su-yi and asked him to arrange Hao Bai's residence. I'm going to the Great Void region in 2 days. After Chu Tong arranged Hao Bai's residence, Lu Yiping said to Chu Tong, I'll help you strengthen the Guan Sword School's ancestral land grand formation in the next 2 days. Although the origin returning sword formation was not weak, it was barely enough to deal with a late-stage lord of a plane. Master wants to go to the Great Void region? Chu Tong was surprised. Master, you've only been here for a few days, you should stay a little longer. Lu Yiping shook his head. I have some matters to attend to in the Great Void region's ancient mystic city. I came here this time to see you. He then asked, that unparalleled restaurant's unparalleled wine sage is Holy Devil's disciple in name? Chu Tong was stunned, then nodded. Gu Wushuang is indeed senior brother Holy Devil's disciple in name, but outsiders don't know my relationship with Master, so Gu Wushuang doesn't know my relationship with senior brother Holy Devil. Gu Wushuang was unparalleled wine sage's real name. He then said, Gu Wushuang has a good head for business. His unparalleled restaurant is doing well, and it's already the Jiutian's #1 restaurant. With the restaurant's financial resources, his subordinates are very strong, at least not weaker than the Taiching Sword School and Black Heaven sect. However, Gu Wushuang rarely manages the restaurant anymore. Some of his juniors are very close to the Black Heaven sect and Taiching Sword School, and some of them are a little arrogant. As for how arrogant they were, Chu Tong did not say. Obviously, Gu Wushuang's juniors did not give him a good impression. Lu Yiping then asked about the Taiching Sword School, Black Heaven sect, Qin and Painting School, and Kuanping Divine sect. Chu Tong reported everything he knew to Lu Yiping. Master, you have to be careful when you go to the Great Void region. The Great Void region has always been chaotic. Chu Tong said. I heard that it's been even more chaotic recently. Someone killed the Saber God's disciple, and the Saber God and the Yen family have been searching for the murderer. However, he also knew that with Lu Yiping's strength, there was nothing to worry about. For the next 2 days, Lu Yiping comprehended the good fortune jade disc at night, and took time during the day to teach Chu Tong how to cultivate and strengthen the Guan ancestral land sword formation. Of course, he did not forget to water Jianshu every day. On the 3rd day, Chu Tong, Su Yi, and the others respectfully sent off Lu Yiping, Taurus Longjiao, and Hao Bai out of the Guan sword school. Chapter 130. However, before heading to the Great Void region, Lu Yiping stopped by a small shop in the Azure Sun Plain market. The shop owner was dozing off in a corner just like before, but when he saw Lu Yiping, he was startled and quickly got up to greet him. Recently, Lu Yiping's matter had spread like wildfire in the Firmament Divine region, and he had heard about it. The shop owner was surprised when he learned that Lu Yiping was going to the Great Void region. Where is your master now? Lu Yiping asked. The store owner hurriedly said, Young Master Lu, I've already reported the matter of the Black Dragon King to my master. However, my master has some matters to attend to in the Void region, so he can't make it back in time. Oh, then where's your master in the Great Void region? Lu Yiping asked. The shop owner named a place. Lu Yiping noted it down, then left the Azure Sun Plain market with Taurus Longjiao and the others, heading to the Great Void region. The shop owner respectfully sent Lu Yiping off, watching Lu Yiping's group disappearing under the setting sun, and muttered, The Great Void region's heavenly steel is about to appear. Are they going to the Great Void region for the heavenly steel? In front of the heavenly steel, there will be another mountain of corpses. According to legend, the heavenly steel was left behind by the Heavenly Court's heavenly emperor in the ancient times. Zhoutian had a total of 29 domains. The Great Void region and the Demon God domain were the 2 largest domains in Zhoutian. Other than the Demon God domain, the Great Void region was the largest. However, although the Great Void region was big, many forces were gathered here, thus the Great Void region was chaotic. Among the top 10 Zhoutian super forces, the Black Heaven sect, ranked 3rd, had its headquarters in the Great Void region. Other than the Black Heaven sect, the 5th-ranked Yen clan, the 7th-ranked Heavenly Beast Gate, and the 8th-ranked Shumi Buddhist sect had their headquarters in the Great Void region. After Lu Yiping left the Firmament God region, he traveled through several regions and finally arrived at the Great Void region. While Lu Yiping was rushing towards the ancient mystic city, the news of the birth of the heavenly steel had also spread. Along the way, Lu Yiping and the others heard the most discussions about the birth of the heavenly steel. When the heavenly monument appears this time, small sects like us can only watch from afar. I'm afraid we won't even be able to see anything, let alone the word heaven on the heavenly monument. Every time the heavenly steel appears, the main steel and the other 9 steels around it would definitely belong to the Kuan-Peng divine sect. The other heavenly steels have been divided among the Profound Heaven sect, the Yen clan, the Heavenly Beast Gate, and the Shumi Buddhist sect. When they passed by an ancient city, many disciples were talking about it. Zither God Fu Chao, you have been famous all your life. Who would have thought that you would not be able to protect yourself in your later years? That's right. He couldn't even take a single palm from that mysterious expert. Now the Zither God Fu Chao and the Qin and Painting School have become a joke. Aside from the birth of the heavenly steel, the most talked about topic was the Zither God Fu Chao being suppressed by the mysterious expert. After the Zither God Fu Chao was captured by the mysterious expert, he disappeared for many days. Some people say that he's already dead. The Qin and Painting School can't possibly take this lying down. I heard that Fu Chao's senior brother, the Zither Devil, actually didn't die back then and has already appeared in the world. Not only did he not die, the Zither Devil actually comprehended the Heavenly Steel's supreme secret technique back then, and has been hiding in the depths of the Qin and Painting School's ancestral land to cultivate. Recently, he has already achieved some success in his cultivation. This time he came out not only for Fu Chao, but also for the birth of the Heavenly Steel. Hearing the discussions, Huang Jiao and Hao Bai were both surprised. The Zither devil actually didn't die. Huangzhou said. Although this person's fame isn't comparable to the Zither god Fu Chao, his strength is definitely more terrifying than Fu Chao. Lu Yiping didn't take the Zither devil's matter to heart. When is the birth of the heavenly steel? Lu Yiping suddenly asked. Hao Bai quickly said. It's in the middle of next month. Lu Yiping nodded. If that was the case, they would still have time to rush to the heavenly steel town after going to the ancient mystic city. The heavenly steels were left behind by the heavenly emperor. There were a total of 100 heavenly steels. Apart from recording supreme techniques, some of the heavenly steels also recorded ancient secrets and some other things. Therefore, Lu Yiping wanted to go and take a look. Back then, the Jianshu was cut off by the heavenly emperor. Perhaps they could find some records of the Jianshu from these heavenly steels. If they knew where the Jianshu grew back then, they might be able to find the main root of the Jianshu. Night fell. After passing through a barren mountain, Lu Yiping's group stopped at the foot of a mountain. They roasted meat and drank wine over a bonfire. Lu Yiping took out a book and flipped through it. This book was obtained from Zither god Fu Chao's spatial divine tool. It was quite interesting. It recorded some ancient races' matters and some ancient techniques. It was just that these cultivation techniques were incomplete, so it was extremely difficult to comprehend them. Before the ancient era, there was the primordial era, the immemorial era, the desolate era, and the creation of the heavens. Items from the immemorial era and the desolate era were very rare nowadays. Because too much time had passed, even transcendent grade divine tools would be corroded by time. They would break down and turn back into fine iron ore. However, items from the ancient era and the primordial era could still be seen occasionally. This book was an item from the ancient era. It was unknown what material it was made of. Although it had been through the ancient era, the middle era, and the recent era, it didn't decay at all. He had been reading this book for the past few days. He deduced that this book was left behind by the ancient era's spirit monkey tribe. In the ancient era, the spirit monkey tribe was extremely powerful. Among them, the wise stone monkey, red-bone horse monkey, long-armed ape monkey, and six-eared macaque were the four great spirit monkeys of the spirit monkey tribe. While Lu Yiping was flipping through this ancient book, Hao Bai was carefully drinking the Age of Eternity wine that Lu Yiping gave him. Although he didn't know what medicinal herbs were used to brew this Age of Eternity wine, he knew that it was extremely precious. It was just like how Zhou Cheng was reluctant to drink the wisdom beggar back then. Taurus Longjiao saw Hao Bai's cautious manner and smiled. Master still has more of this Age of Eternity wine. It's boring for you to drink it like this. Hao Bai smiled embarrassedly. He carefully asked Taurus Longjiao, Lord Shaojin, does this Age of Eternity wine have icefire fruits? When the Medicine King Halls He Xiao tasted icefire fruits, Hao Bai also tasted them. The dragon horn golden bull smiled and said, there is an ice flame fruit, but it is the most common of all the ingredients. Master added star chaos water to it a few days ago. Star chaos water. Hao Bai's hand trembled, almost dropping the wine jug. Taurus Longjiao smiled, it's just star chaos water. There are ingredients more precious than star chaos water in this Age of Eternity wine. Hao Bai was dumbfounded. Don't listen to Xiao Jin's nonsense. Lu Yiping laughed casually. While Lu Yiping's group was chatting, a group of people approached from afar. The person in the lead was a young man with an imposing appearance. Lu Yiping was surprised to see this young man. This was the same young man from the Heavenly Dragon Divine Country that he had met at the Heavenly Secret Chamber of Commerce's auction. At that time, this young man had competed with him for the Myriad Gods Order, and even used the Heavenly Dragon Sword to attack him. The Heavenly Dragon Divine Country's Ao Bai flew over from afar with his subordinates. When he saw the light, he was startled to see that it was Lu Yiping. At the Big Dipper Empire's Heavenly Secret Chamber of Commerce's auction, Lu Yiping had left a deep impression on him. Chapter 131. It's him. Ao Bai blurted out when he saw Lu Yiping from afar. The experts behind Ao Bai weren't with him at the auction, so they didn't recognize Lu Yiping. They were astonished to see Ao Bai pale with fright. They all knew their young master's identity. Given his status, even a Jotian powerhouse wouldn't make their young master's expression change like this. Young master, who is this person? One of the experts couldn't help but ask. Ao Bai's voice was heavy. Lu Yiping. He's Lu Yiping. They were all shocked. Although they had followed Aobai from the Divine Land to the Jiutian continent for only a few days, they had heard many Jiutian experts talking about the murder of Zither god Fu Chao. Some people said that the killer was a young man called Lu Yiping. Zither god Fu Chao was killed by him? One of them stared at Lu Yiping in the distance. Under the illumination of the bonfire, Lu Yiping gave off a quiet and mysterious feeling. It should be him, Aobai said. After returning to the Divine Land from the Heavenly Secret Chamber of Commerce's auction, he thought about it again and again and told his father and grandfather about his encounter with Lu Yiping at the auction. When his father and grandfather learned that Lu Yiping might know their old ancestor, they were also shocked. However, their old ancestor had not come out of the primordial dragon tomb for many years. Even his grandfather didn't know whether he was still alive or not. Therefore, they couldn't find out Lu Yiping's identity from their old ancestor. Later, his grandfather specially investigated Lu Yiping's identity. However, he couldn't find out Lu Yiping's background. Aobai hesitated for a moment, then finally flew over to Lu Yiping's group. Arriving in front of the bonfire, he cupped his fists and respectfully said to Lu Yiping, "Greetings, Lord Lu." Lu Yiping glanced at them and asked, "You guys are also here for the heavenly monolith?" The heavenly steel was about to appear, but Aobai appeared in the Jiutian. It couldn't be such a coincidence. Aobai did not hide anything and replied respectfully, "Yes, the heavenly steel is about to appear. We are also here to try our luck. Have a seat." Lu Yiping pointed to an empty seat beside the bonfire. Aobai sat on the empty seat. The four experts behind him looked at each other and sat down behind Aobai. "After the auction, did you go back and talk to your ancestors?" Lu Yiping asked casually. Aobai shook his head. "My family's old ancestor entered the primordial dragon tomb and did not come out for many years. My grandfather also hasn't seen him for many years." "Oh, you entered the immemorial dragon tomb." Lu Yiping was surprised. When the four experts behind Aobai heard Lu Yiping mention their divine nation's old ancestor, they looked at Lu Yiping in surprise. "Yes, our old ancestor entered the deepest part of the immemorial dragon tomb. Even my grandfather couldn't enter that place, so we haven't seen our old ancestor for many years," Aobai said. Speaking of this, he looked at the Myriad Ages wine in Hao Bai's, Huangjiu's, and the others' hands. The Myriad Ages wine's fragrance was strong, and he had smelled it from afar. Lu Yiping threw a jug of wine to Aobai. Aobai quickly caught it. "Thank you, Lord." However, he didn't put it to heart. With his status, what kind of wine hadn't he tasted before? Thus, after opening the jug, he casually took a sip. Just as he took a sip, Aobai's eyes widened in disbelief as he looked at the Myriad Ages wine in his hand. "This wine is?" Aobai was shocked. Could there be a golden dragon fruit inside? The four experts behind Aobai were stunned. Golden dragon fruit? The golden dragon fruit was a kind of divine dragon fruit, found in the divine Earth's forbidden land. In the past, their divine country had lost countless experts just to obtain a single golden dragon fruit. Taurus Longjiao chuckled mischievously. Aobai immediately stood up, bowing to Lu Yiping in gratitude. "Thank you, Lord Lu, for the wine." At the auction, Aobai was young and frivolous, offending Lord Lu, but Lord Lu did not blame me. "Instead, you gave me such a precious wine, Aobai is ashamed." Lu Yiping said, "It's just a jug of wine, have a seat." Then he added, "There should be more than just these few people coming, right?" Aobai sat down, answering respectfully, "Yes, there are 100 of us. My father is also here. But I parted ways with my father yesterday. We'll meet again later." Then, he looked at Lu Yiping, asking cautiously, "Is Lord Lu also going to the Heavenly Steel Stronghold?" If Lu Yiping went to the Heavenly Steel Stronghold, there would be even more casualties. "We will go." Lu Yiping put down the book in his hand, saying, "However, we have some matters to attend to, so we need to make a trip to the ancient mystic city first." The few of them continued to chat. The sky gradually brightened. Aobai bowed respectfully, then took his leave. That brat Ao Mingting entered the immemorial dragon tomb. It seems like he wants to use the dragon essence marrow inside to break through. After Aobai left, Taurus Longjiao frowned. He hasn't come out from the immemorial dragon tomb for so many years. Did something happen? Lu Yiping also fell into deep thought. Ao Mingting was a little snake he adopted in the past. Later, under his guidance, Ao Mingting began to revert to his ancestral form, transforming into a dragon. A while later, Lu Yiping collected his thoughts, got up, and continued on his journey with Taurus Longjiao and the others. Half a day later, inside a mansion in a certain city, Ao Bai met with his father, Ao Ishuan. Ao Bai told his father about his encounter with Lu Yiping last night, as well as the golden dragon fruit in Lu Yiping's Myriad Ages wine. Golden dragon fruit? Ao Ishuan was surprised. He received the Myriad Ages wine, poured a small cup, and took a sip, exclaiming, "It really is the golden dragon fruit." Then he added, "And it seems like there's also star chaos water?" Star chaos water. Ao Bai was shocked. That's impossible, right? Ao Ishuan pondered. Maybe my judgment was wrong. It should be something similar to star chaos water. He then added, "What is this Lu Yiping's background?" This Lu Yiping, if he really knows our old ancestor, could he be a terrifying existence from the heaven battling era? Ao Bai wondered. Before the Holy Devil race, it was Qi Zhantian's era. Like the Holy Devil race, Qi Zhantian dominated an era, invincible in his generation, hence it was called the heaven battling era. And their old ancestor Ao Mingting was a heaven battling era expert. Heaven battling era? Ao Ishuan was bewildered. That's impossible. The heaven battling era's old antiques, even if they are still alive, their blood essence is almost exhausted. They can't move around like this. Father, I heard that those old monsters from the Lifeless sect have also come to the Jiuqian. It seems like they are also here for the Sky Steel. Ao Bai said. Ao Ishuan snorted. If it weren't for the Lifeless sect, I would have already obtained the 8-section stupa. When the time comes for the Sky Steel, I will definitely take revenge. At this time a sinister sneer sounded. Following that, the dark energy surged, and one figure after another appeared in the sky above the mansion. The entire mansion was completely surrounded. The leader of the group was a skinny old man, devilish aura surging in his eyes as he laughed cruelly. Want to take revenge? I don't think we need to wait for the Sky Steel. Chapter 132. Ao Ishuan and Ao Bai paled seeing the newcomer. Sun Hain. Ao Ishuan's voice was solemn. This skinny old man was one of the Lifeless sect's overlords, Sun Hain. Like Zither god Fu Chao, Sun Hain was an expert from the Holy Devil era. In the Netherworld prison, the Devil race's name was known to the heavens. Just hearing it made people pale. At this time, a series of miserable screams sounded. Ao Ishuan was enraged. These screams belonged to the Heavenly Dragon Divine Country's experts he brought here. By I'll protect you, kill our way out. Ao Ishuan roared, transforming into his true dragon form. 1,000 zhang long divine dragon appeared above the mansion. Its 4 claws slammed into a corner, sending the Lifeless sect's expert flying. By go! Ao Ishuan roared. Ao Bai knew this was not the time to hesitate, so he transformed into his true dragon form, flying out from the corner. Sun Hain looked at Ao Ishuan and Ao Bai in their true dragon forms, sneering. It's been a long time since I've eaten true dragon meat. Everyone kill. We'll eat true dragon meat later. Drink true dragon's blood. With that said, he leaped into the air, arriving in front of Ao Ishuan in the blink of an eye, striking out with his palm. A giant black palm, accompanied by rolling black waves, slammed into Ao Ishuan's lower abdomen. The moment the black dragon palm struck out, the surroundings felt like they had fallen into an ice cave, covering the surrounding buildings in layers of black ice. Ao Ishuan turned around, his dragon claw slamming out. True dragon force roared. Boom! Ao Ishuan was sent flying, crashing to the ground, crushing numerous buildings. Father! Ao Bai was furious. I told you to leave. Ao Ishuan roared. Leave? Sun Hain laughed loudly. You think you can still escape? All of you from the Heavenly Dragon Divine Country will die here today. Ao Ishuan, if your old man was here, I might have some scruples, but since your old man isn't here today, he can only collect your and your father's corpses. No, I didn't even get to collect your corpses. I'll kill you all later and eat your flesh and blood. After saying that, he slapped Ao Ishuan again. In other places, the Tianlong Divine Country's experts were also fighting with the Lifeless sect's experts. However, the lifeless sex experts were several times more than the Tianlong Divine Country's experts. Moreover, they had already arranged layers of devil arrays in the surroundings. Therefore, the Tianlong Divine Country's experts were completely one-sided. Aoishuan was a mid-level lord of the dimension, but compared to an overlord like Sun Haiyin, there was still a big gap. Instantly, the sounds of battle shook the heavens. The destructive power swept through the world, and the buildings in the city were reduced to dust. Within the city, all the experts fled in panic. However, overlords like Aoishuan and Sun Haiyin were so strong that even peak late-stage heavenly gods couldn't withstand their attacks, not to mention the true God realm, and even disciples who weren't even God realm. Those who were too slow to escape were instantly blasted to smithereens by Aoishuan and Sun Haiyin's attacks. Even the families and sex experts in the distant cities fled in fear of being caught in the crossfire. Lu Yiping and the others were unaware of the Tianlong Divine Country's matters. At this time they had arrived at the ancient mystic city. The ancient mystic city was one of the oldest cities in the Great Void region. It was also one of the oldest cities in the Jiutian continent. The ancient mystic city had already existed since the ancient times. On the ancient mystic city's mottled walls, fist-sized runes could be seen from time to time. These runes shone brightly under the sunlight. After a short pause, the group entered the ancient mystic city. Although the ancient mystic city was one of the oldest cities in the Great Void region, it was bustling with activity. Inside the city was the Great Void region's largest trading market. After entering the ancient mystic city, Haobai led Lu Yiping and the others to the old shop. Inside the city, Yin family and Black Heaven Sect's disciples could be seen everywhere. Many of the Black Heaven Sect's ancestors came from the Yin family. Haobai said, the Saber God's disciple was killed, and the Yin family and Black Heaven Sect are still searching for the murderer. Some say that the murderer is still in the Great Void region. Taurus Longjiao chuckled mischievously. With just the Yin family and Black Heaven Sect's people, they want to find the murderer? Haobai didn't know how to respond. Lord, that old shop is right in front. When they reached the intersection of the market, Haobai pointed to the front and led Lu Yiping to the old shop that used to be there. However, when they got closer, Haobai was stunned. In the place where the old shop used to be, a large tavern had been built. The tavern's name was Wushuang Tavern. Lu Yiping looked at the Wushuang Tavern in front of him and asked Haobai, that old shop was here? Yes, I remember it clearly, it was here. Haobai said with certainty. The old shop used to be here, but now the Wushuang Tavern was built here. It seemed like the old shop was bought by the Wushuang Tavern? Let's go in and ask, Lu Yiping said and walked in with Taurus Longjiao and the others. They came to the front desk of the tavern. Are you the person in charge of the Wushuang Tavern? Lu Yiping's gaze fell on a pot-bellied middle-aged man. The other party was very fat, had small eyes and wore a hat. In the middle of the hat was a very bright piece of jade. It was a rare divine jade. The middle-aged man glanced at Lu Yiping and the others and said with a smile, I am. What business do you have with me, young master? At this time Haobai stepped forward and said, I remember that this was an old shop a few thousand years ago. We're here to look for the old shop's owner. The middle-aged man frowned slightly, then smiled and said, I don't know about that. I'm only the person in charge here. I was transferred here 1,000 years ago to be in charge of this tavern. Lu Yiping said indifferently, You're a disciple of the Gu family? Who was responsible for building this Wushuang Tavern back then? The middle-aged man shook his head. I don't know about that. As I said, I was only transferred here 1,000 years ago to be in charge of this tavern. At this time, a young man wearing the brocade robe of the Gu family's core disciple walked in with two female disciples. Sister Yun, Sister Ting, please come in. Not only this Wushuang Tavern, but all the other Wushuang Taverns in the Great Void region are under my father's control. The young man smiled at the two girls. I'll get 2 VIP cards for you too. In the future, if you want to drink, you can come to my Wushuang Tavern. Not only will you be able to enter the VIP rooms, but you'll also be able to drink. Also, all the drinks and dishes will be 20% off. The two girls smiled and said, Thank you, young master Gu Linfeng. Gu Linfeng smiled and said, You're too polite, sisters. After the young man came in, he saw Lu Yiping and the others at the front desk. The Taurus Longjiao was 2 meters tall and had a thick body. Therefore it was blocking the walkway. Gu Linfeng frowned and asked the pot-bellied middle-aged man, "Who are they?" Seeing that it was Gu Linfeng, the pot-bellied middle-aged man quickly walked out and came to Gu Linfeng, respectfully saying, "Young Master Linfeng, these people came over and said that this was an old shop a few thousand years ago, and they want to find the old shop's owner." Gu Linfeng said, "Since they're not here to drink or eat, let them go. Don't block my way." "Yes," the middle-aged man hurriedly said. Chapter 133. The middle-aged man turned to Lu Yiping and said, "You all heard it, please leave." Lu Yiping looked at the young man, Gu Linfeng. "You said that not only the Wushuang Tavern in the ancient mystic city, but all the Wushuang taverns in the Great Void region are under your father's control, right?" Gu Linfeng confirmed, "That's right, my father is the Gu family's ancestor, Gu Gaon. Gu family's ancestor, Gu Gaoyuan, was the Gu family's leader in the Great Void region. Even some big shots had to be courteous in front of his father." "Then, do you know what happened to that old shop?" Lu Yiping asked nonchalantly. At this time, one of the girls beside Gu Linfeng spoke, "Young Master Linfeng, can we go in now?" Standing at the door made her impatient. Gu Linfeng hurriedly said, Of course. Then he waved his hand at Lu Yiping. "Why aren't you leaving?" Lu Yiping stood there, asking nonchalantly, "Where did you move the old shop to after you bought it?" Gu Linfeng's face sank when he saw Lu Yiping standing there unmoving. Asking about the old shop, "Do you not understand what I mean? I told you to leave." He then introduced the two girls. "This is the Black Sky Sect's Grand Elder Jiang Ting. This is the Yen family's young Miss Yen Ruyun. You're blocking Grand Elder Jiang Ting and young Miss Yen Ruyun's path, do you know that?" Taurus Longjiao stood there, looking at the two girls from head to toe, chuckling mischievously. "These two girls are quite pretty. So you're from the Black Sky Sect and Yen family, sorry for the disrespect." Jiang Ting and Yen Ruyun's brows furrowed. Gu Linfeng's face sank when he saw Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao's nonchalant attitude. Indifferent, he said, "Are you here to cause trouble? If you're here to cause trouble at the Wushuang Tavern, then you've come to the wrong place." Taurus Longjiao glanced at the tavern and said, "This place is located in a bustling area with good business. Most people wouldn't sell their shops. You guys didn't rob them, did you?" Gu Linfeng slapped the middle-aged man's face and said angrily, "Why aren't you calling for help?" The middle-aged man hurriedly summoned all the experts and disciples in the tavern. At this time there were quite a number of customers in the tavern. They were surprised to see Lu Yiping's group causing trouble at the Wushuang Tavern. "Who are these people? How dare they cause trouble at the Wushuang bar? You're courting death, aren't you?" Although the Matchless Tavern isn't one of the top 10 Jotian superpowers, its strength isn't any weaker than the Taiching Sword School and the Black Heaven Sect. Moreover, it has a very good relationship with the Taiching Sword School, the Black Heaven Sect, and the Yen family. Everyone shook their heads. Soon, all the experts and guards of the Wushuang Tavern rushed out. Among these experts, some were direct disciples of the Gu clan, while others were collateral disciples. Some were recruited by the Wushuang Tavern. In the Juqian, as long as one had money, one could recruit a peak late-stage heavenly god expert, or even a plain lord. Of course, it was extremely difficult to recruit a plain lord, and the price was too high. There were very few things that could tempt a plain lord. Taurus Longjiao glanced at the several hundred experts and guards of the Wushuang Tavern and laughed. Just this. Although there were several hundred people, the strongest among them was only an early-stage heavenly god. Moreover, there was only one early-stage heavenly god. In fact, heavenly god experts were considered ancestor-level characters even in some superpowers. Many superpowers only had one heavenly god overseeing their branches. For example, the Guiyuan Sword School's ancestor, Qiuyu, was only a mid-stage heavenly god. Of course, a mid-stage heavenly god was nothing compared to Taurus Longjiao's group. Hearing this, Gu Linfeng's face darkened. "Break their legs and throw them out." The early-stage heavenly god from the Wushuang Tavern walked out and stopped in front of Taurus Longjiao, saying coldly, "Please enlighten me." Then he bent 4 fingers and pointed at Taurus Longjiao. Tiankei finger. Honorable Tiankei's supreme finger technique. Honorable Tiankei's ultimate technique to intimidate the Jotian. Someone exclaimed. Honorable Tiankei was also a big shot. This expert from the Wuxia Tavern was his disciple? Jiang Ting and Yen Ruyun were also surprised to see Honorable Tian Kei's disciple submit to the Wuxia Tavern. Honorable Tian Kei's reputation in the Jiutian was still very big. However, just as Honorable Tian Kei's disciple's attack reached Taurus Longjiao, it was blocked by a punch from someone. The person who blocked the attack was none other than Huang Jiu. Honorable Tian Kei's disciple was pushed back by Huang Jiu's punch, almost falling on the street outside the Wuxia Tavern. Although Honorable Tian Kei's disciple wasn't weak and his Tian Kei finger was powerful, Huang Jiu had the immortal Golden Phoenix physique. His battle strength was comparable to a mid-stage heavenly god or even a peak mid-stage heavenly god. How could Honorable Tian Kei's disciple withstand his attack? Huang Jiu looked at the other party expressionlessly. You're not qualified to fight with Lord Shaojin. Beat me first. Everyone was stunned. This young man is also an early-stage heavenly god. His physique is so strong. Is he a super divine beast? Inside the Wuxia Tavern, a young man holding a jade fan exclaimed. Indifferent, Gu Linfeng said. Activate the firmament divine array. As soon as Gu Linfeng finished speaking, a giant array diagram appeared above the Wuxia Tavern. Layers upon layers of array energy roared out. Firmament divine array. When this Wuxia Tavern was first built, Lord Gu Gaoyuan joined hands with more than a dozen peak late-stage heavenly god realm experts to set up the firmament divine array. Once this array is activated, even peak late-stage heavenly god realm experts won't be able to resist. However, just as the firmament divine array's power was about to reach Lu Yiping's group, Lu Yiping suddenly glanced at the firmament divine array's core above the Wuxia Tavern. With just a glance, the firmament divine array's core above the Wuxia Tavern exploded. Light bloomed high up in the sky like fireworks, lighting up the ancient mystic city. Everyone was dumbfounded. Gu Linfeng was also dumbfounded. What was going on? Why did the firmament divine array's core explode on its own? Everyone was bewildered. Although Lu Yiping had glanced at the firmament divine array's core, no one connected it to Lu Yiping. Taurus Longjiao suddenly raised his hand, pressing Gu Linfeng to the ground. The tavern's floor squeaked from the friction. Break our legs? Taurus Longjiao said this, picking up Gu Linfeng's head and swinging it to the ground. With a loud boom, Gu Linfeng's leg smashed into the tavern's floor broken. Everything happened too quickly. Jiang Ting, Yen Ruyun and the rest were dumbfounded. Only Gu Linfeng's screams echoed in the tavern. Young Master Linfeng. Venerable Tian Kei's disciple was enraged, rushing toward Taurus Longjiao. The tavern's other experts and guards also regained their senses and attacked. Huang Jiu blocked Venerable Tian Kei's disciple, whereas Hao Bai blocked the tavern's other experts and guards. The strongest among the tavern's experts and guards were merely true God realm experts. All of them were sent flying by Hao Bai's slap. Lu Yiping pulled Gu Linfeng in front of him and searched his soul. From Gu Linfeng's memories, Huang Jiu knew that the old shop owner was indeed forced to buy and sell by Gu Linfeng, and the old shop owner was killed by Gu Linfeng. Chapter 134. The soul-searching ended. Lu Yiping looked at Gu Linfeng with indifferent eyes. In Gu Linfeng's memory, Huang Xiaolong was a scum who had committed many atrocities. Killing an old shop owner, robbing an old shop owner, these kinds of things were considered normal. Many young girls had been ruined by him. Lu Yiping clenched his fist and crushed Huang Xiaolong. Everyone was dumbfounded. The Wuxia Tavern's experts and guards were even more dumbfounded. All of you have committed a heinous crime, punishable by death. Venerable Tian Kei's disciple roared in anger. None of you can escape. Not only you, your families, your sects, and everyone related to you will not be able to escape. Taurus Longjiao slapped Venerable Tian Kei's disciple in the face, disappearing from sight. The Wuxia Tavern's experts retreated in fear. For a moment no one dared to step forward. Lu Yiping's group left the tavern. Jiang Ting and Yen Ruyun also retreated to a safe distance, looking at Lu Yiping with fear in their eyes. Tear down this tavern, Lu Yiping ordered. Lu Yiping's words sent the tavern's customers fleeing in panic. Taurus Longjiao's giant golden retriever swept across the tavern. In an instant the tavern crumbled to the ground. Lu Yiping's group left the tavern. Looking at the ruined tavern, Not only were the Wushuang Tavern's experts dumbfounded, but the other customers were also dumbfounded. This seems to be the first time someone dared to tear down the Wushuang Tavern, right? The Wushuang Tavern had been established for many years, and it flourished all over the Jiutian cities. Although there were people causing trouble in the Wushuang Tavern, no one had ever dared to tear it down. Disregarding the Wushuang Tavern's relationship with the Taiching Sword School, Black Heaven Sect, and Yin family, just the Wushuang Tavern's strength was terrifying. Moreover, the Wushuang Tavern sage Gu Wushuang was the Lord Holy Devil's disciple in name. Who was the Lord Holy Devil? That was an invincible expert who had suppressed 3 eras. Even though he had left Jiutian, his supreme holy and demonic aura was still there. Countless experts had followed him back then, and some of them were still alive. These were all antiques comparable to zither god Fu Chao. Some of the old antiques were now sitting in the Wushuang Tavern's headquarters. I wonder which sect these people are from. A few days ago, someone killed the knife god's disciple. Now someone has torn down the Wushuang Tavern and killed a core disciple of the Gu family. Gu Limfeng's father, Gu Gaoyuan, was in charge of the Wushuang Tavern's forces in the Great Void region. One could imagine how high Gu Gaoyuan's status in the Gu family was. Now his son was dead. This was definitely a heaven-piercing matter. Troubled times in the Great Void domain. The young man with the jade fan said. Some people recognized the identity of the young man with the jade fan. Their faces were filled with fear as they distanced themselves from him. After a while, the young man with the jade fan floated away. The jade fan sect has appeared again? One of the family heads asked as he looked at the departing figure of the young man with the jade fan. Jade fan door? Could it be the Jade Fan sect from the ancient times? Hasn't the Jade Fan sect disappeared for nearly 100,000 years? Disappearance doesn't mean that they're gone forever. These ancient sects will appear every once in a while. It seems like the appearance of the Sky Steel this time has attracted these ancient sects to appear. Jade-faced Wolflord, could he still be alive? One of the ancestors suddenly asked. Some ancestors who had heard of Jade-faced Wolflord kept quiet out of fear. Jade-faced Wolflord was the strongest person in the Jade Fan sect. He was both good and evil, and his methods were cruel. Great Void region inside the Wushuang Tavern's main hall. Gu Gaoyuan was sipping tea and discussing Dao with the Black Heaven sect's ancestor Wu Yi. The lunar steel will appear next time. When Brother Wu Yi comprehends the Sky Steel's secret technique, his strength will definitely improve. Gu Gaoyuan smiled. Wu Yi smiled and said, "Same to you. Your Wushuang Tavern will definitely obtain several greater Sky Steels. Brother Gaoyuan might even comprehend the Sky Steel's secret technique, and his strength will improve faster than mine." The Sky Steel contained countless secret techniques of the Archean Heavenly Court. However, these secret techniques were divided into strong and weak ones. The higher the grade, the better the technique, and the stronger the power. Secret techniques were ranked from high to low. Heaven, Earth, Black and Yellow. Yellow was the lowest while Heaven was the highest. It was extremely difficult to comprehend Heaven-rank secret techniques. From the Archean era until now, only one person had managed to comprehend a Heaven-rank secret technique from the Sky Steel, and it was only one part. Gu Gaoyuan sighed. It's a pity that our Wushuang old ancestor doesn't care about the secular world. I'm afraid he'll be indifferent to the appearance of the Sky Steel. Just as Gu Gaoyuan was sighing, his communication talisman vibrated. He took it out and his face turned uglier. In the end, his killing intent soared. Fonger! Gu Gaoyuan screamed, his voice filled with sorrow. Wu Yi was surprised when he saw Gu Gaoyuan's killing intent soaring to the sky after reading the communication talisman. He took the communication talisman from Gu Gaoyuan's hand and his face turned cold. This person is courting death, Wu Yi said coldly. Indifferent, Gu Gaoyuan went on. Tearing down my Wushuang Tavern, killing my son, I don't care who you are. I want you to die without a burial place. Also, everyone related to you will be buried with my son. Wu Yi asked, Brother Gaoyuan, do you need our Black Sky Sect's help? Gu Gaoyuan shook his head. Many thanks, Brother Wu Yi, but there's no need for now. Wu Yi nodded. He also knew that with the Wushuang Tavern's strength, they didn't need his help. After Lu Yiping left the Wushuang Tavern, he didn't linger in the ancient mystic city. He left the city and headed to the Great Void region's Blue Sea. Although the old shop owner was killed, His son and grandson were still alive, living in a fishing village in the Blue Sea. Perhaps his son knew about the fortune jade disc. The Blue Sea wasn't far from the ancient mystic city. With Lu Yiping's group speed, it didn't take long for them to reach the Blue Sea. She came to the shore of Qinghai. She listened to the sound of the waves and felt the sea breeze. She looked at the surface of the sea and the smiling fishermen. She said, "This kind of life is peaceful and good." Lu Yiping said, "There's no such thing as peace in this world. Where there are people, there are contradictions and conflicts." The group walked to the fishing village. Lu Yiping asked around and headed to the old shop owner's son's residence. The old shop owner Huang Cheng's ancestor was a super sect's ancestor. Later, his sect was annihilated, and the Huang family gradually declined. This place was his ancestral home and it was quite big. The eaves of the house stretched endlessly, covering an area of more than 100 mu. Huang Cheng's son was the Huang family's current patriarch, Huang Jianji. When the Huang family's experts learned that Lu Yiping's group was here to look for their patriarch, they reported to the Huang family's experts and led Lu Yiping's group into the Huang family's ancestral home. Huang Jianji's strength wasn't weak. He was a mid-stage true God realm expert. When he saw Lu Yiping's group, there was obvious suspicion and vigilance in his eyes. "Why are you looking for me?" Lu Yiping took out the fortune jade disc. When Huang Jianji saw the fortune jade disc in Lu Yiping's hand, he was surprised. "World cleansing jade. World cleansing jade?" Lu Yiping noticed that Huang Jianji recognized the jade in his hand and asked, "I heard that this jade is your family's heirloom? Do you know the origin of this jade?" Chapter 135. When Huang Jianji heard Lu Yiping asking about the origin of the jade, he hesitated. Haobai stepped forward and said, "I bought this jade from your father, Huang Cheng, several thousand years ago. This is Lord Lu. We came here with no malice, we just want to know the origin of this jade. If you're willing to tell us, we will be grateful," Haobai said. Huang Jiao stepped forward and handed Huang Jianji a spatial ring. Inside, there were piles of divine-grade spirit stones, probably several 100 million. The Huang family had declined, but they wouldn't have sold this jade several thousand years ago. When had Huang Jianji ever seen so many divine-grade spirit stones? Therefore, he was shocked when he saw the mountain of divine-grade spirit stones in Huang Jiao's spatial ring. This, Huang Jianji swallowed hard. Frankly speaking, it would be a lie to say that he wasn't tempted in the face of several 100 million divine-grade spirit stones. He hesitated for a moment, then said to Lu Yiping, "In fact, I'm not very clear about the origin of this jade. I only know that it's called the World Cleansing Jade, passed down from our ancestor, Huang Yuandong." "Huang Yuandong?" Lu Yiping asked. "Do you know the identity and deeds of your ancestor Huang Yuandong?" Huang Jianji answered, "Our ancestor Huang Yuandong was one of the Purple Lightning Temple's ancestors more than 100,000 years ago." Purple Lightning Temple. Huang Jiao frowned. The Purple Lightning Temple seemed to have been destroyed more than 100,000 years ago? Huang Jianji nodded. Back then, when the Purple Lightning Palace was destroyed, the outer sect forces of the Purple Lightning Palace were implicated as well. Our Huang clan declined as a result. Originally, our Huang clan still had some properties left behind by old ancestor Huang Yuandong. However, over the years, these properties have been swallowed up by other sections. Speaking of this, Huang Jianji's face turned bitter. His voice filled with hatred. Our old shop in the ancient mystic city was swallowed up by the Wushuang Tavern. My father also died because of it. Gu Linfeng is dead. Lu Yiping said. Huang Jianji was stunned. We just came from the ancient mystic city. My master killed Gu Linfeng. Huang Jiao said. Huang Jianji looked at Lu Yiping in shock. Gu Linfeng was Gu Gaoyuan's son and had many experts around him. Moreover, Gu Linfeng himself was very strong. Lu Yiping said, I believe there will be news from the Great Void region soon. Huang Jianji bowed deeply to Lu Yiping. Thank you, my lord, for avenging my father's death. All these years, how could he not want to kill Gu Linfeng? But with his strength, it was no different from striking a rock with an egg. No need. Lu Yiping shook his head. This kind of scum deserves to die. Even if your father didn't exist, I would still kill him. Afterwards, Lu Yiping asked about Huang Yuandong and the destruction of the Purple Lightning Palace. Huang Jianji told Lu Yiping everything he knew. However, Huang Jianji didn't know much about it. So Lu Yiping didn't know how Huang Yuandong obtained the jade. After staying for a while, Lu Yiping and the others took their leave. Huang Jianji wanted to return the divine Great Spirit Stone to Lu Yiping, but Lu Yiping asked him to keep it. After leaving, Lu Yiping frowned. According to Huang Jianji, when the Purple Lightning Palace was destroyed back then, from the Patriarch to the Palace Master, everyone in the Purple Lightning Palace was killed. Huang Yuandong had most likely died in that great battle. However, Huang Jianji couldn't be sure if Huang Yuandong had really died. Do you know who destroyed the Purple Lightning Palace? Lu Yiping asked Huang Jiu. I think it was the Jade Fan Gate. Huang Jiu recalled. It was the Jade Fan Gate's Jade-Faced Wolf Lord. Jade-Faced Wolf Lord. Lu Yiping repeated. If they could find Jade-Faced Wolf Lord, they might be able to confirm whether Huang Yuandong was dead or not. I've heard of Jade-Faced Wolf Lord. He's neither good nor evil, and his methods are cruel. If you offend him, not only will you die, but those related to him will also be implicated. He was one of the top 10 experts of the heaven battling era. His sect, the Jade Fan Gate, rarely appears, but every time it does, something big will happen. However, with the appearance of the heavenly steel this time, the Jade Fan Gate might appear as well. Lu Yiping took out his communication talisman and contacted Chu Tong, asking him to use the Guiyuan Sword School's influence to investigate the Purple Lightning Palace's Huang Yuandong and Jade-Faced Wolf Lord. Soon after, the group headed towards the Heavenly Steel. The Great Void region was one of the two largest regions in the Jiutian continent. Although the Heavenly Steel was located in the Great Void region, it was located in the extreme north. Therefore, it was quite far from the Blue Sea. However, there were still many days before the Heavenly Moon Steel's appearance. There was ample time, so Lu Yiping's group was in no hurry, taking their time. When they passed by a town, everyone was talking about the destruction of the unparalleled tavern and Gu Linfeng's death. Recently, the Great Void region's various forces have gathered. It's becoming more chaotic. Have you heard? The Divine Land's Heavenly Dragon Divine Country and Nether Prison's Lifeless Sect also came to the Jiutian. Moreover, the Heavenly Dragon Divine Country was besieged by the Lifeless Sect's experts. The Lifeless Sect's old ancestor, Lord Sun Haiyin, made a move. The Heavenly Dragon Divine Country's 100 experts were wiped out. Even the Heavenly Dragon Divine Country's ruler, Aoishuan, failed to escape. Impossible. The Heavenly Dragon Divine Country's ruler is dead? The Heavenly Dragon Divine Country is one of the Divine Land's top 10 super forces. So what if it's one of the top 10 super forces? How could the Heavenly Dragon Divine Country's ruler be Sun Haiyin's opponent? I heard that Lord Sun Haiyin slaughtered the Heavenly Dragon Divine Country's ruler. Even his dragon flesh was eaten clean. This is too ruthless. The Heavenly Dragon Divine Country's ruler was a giant. I didn't expect him to meet such a tragic end. Everyone shook their heads. In the Divine Land, Jiutian and Netherworld Prison, early and mid-stage Lords of Plains were considered giants. Only late-stage and peak late-stage Lords of Plains could be considered as overlords. Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao were stunned. Is what you said true? Lu Yiping asked. The person who spoke glanced at Lu Yiping and said, many people saw it. At this time, a figure fell from the sky, crashing onto the street in the distance. The person was covered in blood. Judging from his appearance, it was a young man. After falling to the ground, the young man struggled to get up and staggered towards the crowd. The crowd was alarmed and quickly moved aside. It's that Aobai brat. Taurus Longjiao recognized the young man and stood up. Together with Huang Jiu and Hao Bai, he stepped forward to support Aobai, who was about to fall. The young man was none other than the Heavenly Dragon Divine Country's Divine Prince Aobai, who was being chased by the Lifeless Sect's experts. Aobai had been chased all the way here, using the Heavenly Dragon Divine Country's divine talismans to escape. He was already at the end of his rope when he heard Taurus Longjiao's voice. When he saw that it was really Taurus Longjiao and Lu Yiping, he cried, Lord Xiaojin, Lord Lu, save my father. Tears flowed down his face. He held Taurus Longjiao's arm tightly, crying and begging, Senior Xiaojin, quickly save my father, save my father. Save your father? A sinister laughter sounded. Several figures whistled through the air, hovering above the town. Black waves rolled around their bodies, darkening the clear sky. Chapter 136. It's the lifeless sex people. Run! When the experts around Lu Yiping saw the person in the sky, they all fled in fright, running as far away as they could. The lifeless sect ranked second among the Nether Purgatory's top 10 super forces. In an instant, Lu Yiping's surroundings were emptied out. Aobai was both shocked and angered when he saw the newcomers. Along the way, if he hadn't used the Sky Dragon Divine Country's invisible dragon talisman, he would have been dead. Even so, the other party was still hot on his heels. The 4 lifeless sex people landed in front of Lu Yiping. The 4 people looked at Aobai. The old man in the lead looked at Aobai and licked his lips. Although your true dragon body is tender, not as thick as your father's skin, the texture should be better. He then turned to the other 3 people beside him. What do you guys say, should we roast it or tear it raw and eat it piece by piece? Or should we get a super big pot and cook it slowly? The other 3 people laughed heartily. At this time, Taurus Longjiao suddenly reached out. His palm enlarged and slapped at the old man in the lead. Seeing Taurus Longjiao actually dared to attack him, the old man couldn't help laughing. Brat, it's fine if you meddle in other people's business, but you dare to attack me? Do you know how the word death is written? Then the old man's world force surged and his palm met Taurus Longjiao's attack. The old man in the lead was a master of a plane. Moreover, he was a master of a plane who had cultivated the power of 3,600,000 fighting planes. Because of this, even though Aobai had used the invisible dragon talisman all the way, the old man was still hot on his heels. Black waves rolled on his palm, whimpering like the cries of evil spirits. Black Ghost Poisonous Heart Palm. Lord Xiaojin, don't touch it. Aobai was alarmed. The Black Ghost Poisonous Heart Palm was the Nether Purgatory's famous supreme devil palm. To cultivate this palm, one needed to enter a land of evil spirits and absorb the evil spirit souls and cold corpse poison's aura all year round. The poison contained in this palm was extremely terrifying. If touched, the poison would spread to the whole body in an instant. Evil spirits would plague the body and corpse poison would attack the heart. However, just as Aobai finished his words, Taurus Longjiao's palm collided with his opponent's. Bang! There was a loud explosion. In an instant, the old man from the Death Door sect felt a terrifying force colliding with him. His arm shook violently, and his entire arm shattered inch by inch. As for him, he flew out like a floating leaf. By the time he landed, the Death Door sect's elder's right arm had already turned into a bloody mist, splattering all over his body and face. The other 3 from the Death Door sect were dumbfounded. Aobai was also stunned. Taurus Longjiao pulled the man in front of him and said with a smile, I really don't know how to write the word death. Does that mean you know? The old man looked at Taurus Longjiao in shock. This muscular man from the Golden Retriever was actually a mid-level planar master? Even if he wasn't in the mid-level, he was at the peak of the early level. Then he sneered, so what if you're stronger than me? When you exchanged blows with me just now, the corpse poison of my Black Ghost Poisonous Heart Palm has already seeped into your palm. Soon the corpse poison will attack your heart. Do you know what it feels like to have a corpse poison attack your heart? Heart attack? Taurus Longjiao said with a smile. Is that so? Then he looked down at his right palm. Taurus Longjiao's right hand was smooth and clean. You're fine, the old man said in disbelief. The most terrifying blood poison god-transforming palm in the hell of Mahanata, Taurus Longjiao said coolly. I've already taken on the blood poison god-transforming palm. Your Black Ghost Venom Heart Palm's corpse poison isn't even a billionth of the blood poison god-transforming palm's power. However, the 4 experts from the Death Door sect didn't believe Taurus Longjiao's bullshit. One of the experts from the Death Door sect stepped forward and looked at Taurus Longjiao in shock. Your Excellency, may I ask who you are? Please let Sir Miao go. This is a private matter between the Death Door sect and the Heavenly Dragon Divine Kingdom. Please, Your Excellency, don't interfere. Taurus Longjiao clenched his fist, and the old man from the Death Door sect felt a terrifying pressure weighing down on him. His body began to crack open, and blood sprayed out of him. In the end, the old man was crushed to death. Aobai gulped. The other 3 experts from the Death Door sect were both shocked and enraged. "Kill them all," Lu Yiping said. Taurus Longjiao flicked his finger, and 3 beams of light shot out, killing the 3 experts from the Death Door sect. Lu Yiping's palm glowed with a green light, which he sent into Aobai's body. Instantly, Aobai felt his life force surge, and his injuries began to heal. "Where's your father?" Lu Yiping asked. "Take me to him." Aobai gave him a location. Lu Yiping had Taurus Longjiao and the others wait for him there. Then he took Aobai and tore through space, disappearing into the void in the blink of an eye. Together with Aobai, Lu Yiping strode through the chaos turbulence. Aobai looked at the chaotic space turbulence in front of him, feeling the terrifying power, and was dumbfounded. "Lord, is this chaotic space turbulence?" Aobai asked weakly. Lu Yiping grunted in acknowledgement, then walked out from the chaotic space turbulence. Aobai looked around and saw that they had arrived above the city where the heavenly dragon divine kingdom was besieged. Lu Yiping looked at the destroyed city, a frown creasing his brows. The entire city was in ruins and occasionally there were bloodstains. These bloodstains contained the dragon chi of the Dragon Clan's experts, and some were the blood of the Death Door sect's experts. However, there were no Death Door sect or Heavenly Dragon Divine Kingdom's experts. Aobai regained his senses, looking at the ruined city and the empty city. He cried out in sorrow, "Father!" Although he did not see his father's body, he was afraid that his father's fate was grim. Lu Yiping and Aobai walked around the city for a long time, but they still didn't see any traces of the lifeless sect and Tianlong Divine Country's people. The Eye of Lightning Punishment appeared on his forehead, surging with lightning as it scanned through the layers of space, but there was still nothing. Although his strength was invincible, he was not omnipotent. Therefore, he could not deduce the whereabouts of the Heavenly Dragon Divine Kingdom's experts. If he was omnipotent, he could deduce it from the Fortune Jade Disk's fragments. After searching for a while and finding nothing, Lu Yiping stopped. Aobai's face was filled with grief and despair, as if all his strength had been sucked out. Lu Yiping said, "Don't worry, as long as your father is still alive, I will save him." Aobai knelt before Lu Yiping, thanking him profusely. "Come on, let's go back first." Lu Yiping brought Aobai back, tearing through the void, following the original path. Taurus Longjiao saw Lu Yiping and Aobai returning, but did not see any other Heavenly Dragon Divine Kingdom's experts. He couldn't help asking Lu Yiping. Lu Yiping shook his head. Lu Yiping took out his communication talisman, contacting Chu Tong, asking him to inquire about the Death Door sect and the Heavenly Dragon Divine Kingdom's emperor. Then the group left for the Jotian's largest information gathering organization, the Misty Pavilion's branch. Lu Yiping asked the Misty Pavilion's help to inquire about the Death Door sect and the Heavenly Dragon Divine Kingdom's emperor, as well as Huang Yuandong and Jade-Faced Wolf Lord. Chapter 137. Of course, the price for information about the lifeless sect, Heavenly Dragon Divine Nation's ruler, Huang Yuandong, and Jade-Faced Wolf Lord was exorbitant. However, this small amount of money was nothing to Lu Yiping. Moreover, Lu Yiping increased the price by 10 times, ordering the Floating Mist Pavilion to mobilize all of their forces in the next 2 days to look for the information he entrusted them with. After leaving the contact information, Lu Yiping and the others left the Floating Mist Pavilion's branch. "Master, since the lifeless sect came to the Jotian for the Heavenly Steel, they will definitely go to the Heavenly Steel when it appears next month," Taurus Longjiao said. Lu Yiping nodded his head. The group continued to head towards the Heavenly Steel Town. While Lu Yiping and the others were heading towards the Heavenly Steel Town, in the Taiching Sword School's main hall, Zhang Sangchong was listening to a report from the Taiching Sword School's sect master, Si Yun. Previously, when Zither God Fu Chao was suppressed by a mysterious person, Zhang Sangchong ordered Si Yun and the others to investigate if it was really Lu Yiping who did it. Now, Si Yun was reporting the results of his investigation to him. "Oh, you're saying that when Zither God Fu Chao was suppressed by the Buddha Palm, Lu Yiping was in the Azure God region's Wind Thunder Manor's Lake City, and not at the Guan Sword School?" Zhang Sangchong asked. "Yes," Si Yun said respectfully. "Now, we can be certain that the mysterious expert was not Lu Yiping." Zhang Sangchong relaxed inwardly. Previously he had thought that it was Liu Yiping, but now that he was certain that Liu Yiping was in the Azure God region's Wind Thunder Manor, the person who did it was definitely not Liu Yiping. The Guiyuan Sword School was in the Azure Cloud Manor, while Liu Yiping was in the Wind Thunder Manor. The distance between the two places was countless miles. However, we still haven't found out who did it, Siyun said. Continue investigating, Zhang Sangchong said. Siyun nodded and said, we found out that Liu Yiping is currently in the Supreme Void region. He just killed the son of the Supreme Void region's Guiyuan and destroyed the Matchless Tavern in the ancient Mystic City. Zhang Sangchong was surprised and muttered, this Liu Yiping has appeared in the Great Void region for the Heavenly Steel. Is Chu Tong with him? Siyun shook his head. That's not true. The Divine Monument is about to appear. Let's get ready. It's time for us to go to the Divine Monument town, Zhang Sangchong said. What if we run into Liu Yiping? Siyun asked. Zhang Sangchong narrowed his eyes. Let the Qin and Painting School and Wushuang Tavern deal with him first. Then we'll act according to the situation. No matter what, we can't let Liu Yiping leave Sky Monument Town alive. Several days passed. Liu Yiping and the others arrived at a small town. There was a huge stone tablet erected at the entrance of the town. Divine Monument Town. There were 3 words written on the tablet. The words were carved by someone with finger force. They were vigorous and powerful, containing supreme power as if they could tear the sky apart. Liu Yiping looked at the quiet town in front of him. This was the Divine Monument Town. The Divine Monument Town wasn't big, but it was famous in the Jyotian. There was a mysterious power in this town. It was this mysterious power that protected this town. Even if the Plain Lord attacked, this town wouldn't be damaged in the slightest. Huangzhou said, everyone says that this tablet was left behind by the Heavenly Emperor. These 3 words were carved by the Heavenly Emperor. People often stand in front of this tablet to comprehend the supreme power in these 3 words. Liu Yiping said, the supreme power in these 3 words isn't that easy to comprehend, because the difference between the 2 realms was too great. Too great to be measured. But this tablet wasn't left behind by the Heavenly Emperor, Liu Yiping said while looking at the tablet. Not left behind by the Heavenly Emperor? Huangzhou, Haobai and Aobai were surprised. Taurus Longjiao said, these 3 words are indeed very powerful, but they were definitely not carved by the Heavenly Emperor. The Heavenly Emperor's power is far greater than this. Huangzhou, Haobai and Aobai were dumbfounded. They didn't understand why Taurus Longjiao was so sure that the Heavenly Emperor's power was far greater than this. After stopping for a while, Liu Yiping and the others entered the Divine Monument Town. The stones on the ground of the sky steel suppressing ground were uneven. Every stone had a strange pattern on it, and between these patterns, there were characters that were faintly formed. But upon closer inspection they couldn't tell what kind of characters they were. The town was exceptionally quiet, as if the whole town was in a deep slumber, and had yet to awaken. Since the Divine Monument Town was about to appear, many Jyotian experts from various regions had arrived. In some corners experts were chatting, but the strange thing was no matter how loud their voices were, the town remained quiet. There was a kind of energy that seemed to filter out the experts' voices. After Liu Yiping's group entered the town, many of the town's experts looked at Liu Yiping and whispered in each other's ears. He's Liu Yiping? That's right, I saw him during the Guiyuan Sword School's General Assembly. At that time he was competing with Goddess Su Qiaoyin on the zither. What a pity, Goddess Su Qiaoyin and the people from the Qin and Painting School should be arriving soon. Voices of discussion sounded. Liu Yiping's expression was calm. Inside the town, there were scattered buildings and houses. There were natives in the Divine Monument Town. But there weren't many, only a few dozen households. Some people said that the natives of the Divine Monument Town were descendants of the immemorial Celestial Emperor. Of course, not many people believed this. Liu Yiping's group arrived at the center of the Divine Monument Town. In the center of the Divine Monument Town was a large square. When the Divine Monument appeared, it would rise from the ground of the square. At this time, the empty space near the Divine Monument had been occupied by many experts. Only a few empty spaces were still empty. Liu Yiping led the group to one of the empty spaces. When the surrounding experts saw this, they all had strange expressions on their faces. because that empty space used to be occupied by the Qin and Painting School. In the past, when the Divine Monument appeared, the experts from the Qin and Painting School would occupy that empty space. This time, the experts from the Qin and Painting School hadn't arrived yet. If that empty space didn't belong to the Qin and Painting School, the other experts would have already occupied it. That empty space belongs to the Qin and Painting School. Now that Lu Yiping has occupied it, there will be a good show to watch. Someone whispered. Hearing the whispers, Huang Zhou said, "So this empty space was reserved for the Qin and Painting School." Lu Yiping's expression was normal as he followed the group to the empty space. Then he took out a few Chaos Divine Stones and condensed them into a stone table and a few stone stools. He sat down with Taurus Longjiao, then took out the Age of Eternity wine and drank it. Is that a Chaos Divine Stone? The surrounding crowd was shocked when they saw Lu Yiping condensing the stone table and stools. It's fake, right? Someone didn't believe it. Amidst the crowd's chatter, a large group of experts walked into the Divine Monument town from afar. When the crowd saw the newcomers, their faces were filled with fear and they immediately quieted down. The newcomers were experts from the Kuanping Divine Sect. Someone recognized the Kuanping Divine Sect's sect master, Fei Jia. But this time, Fei Jia was unusually respectful as he followed behind a tall and sturdy old man. "It's Lord Lei Yu," a super sect's founder said with a trembling voice. Those who didn't recognize the old man were so frightened that their legs went soft. Chapter 138. Lei Yu. In the Holy Devil era, there was another name for him, Lightning Ancestor. Although Zither god Fu Chao had ascended to godhood in the Tao of Zither, and his name resounded throughout the Jiuqian, he wasn't one of the top 10 experts in the Holy Devil era. On the other hand, Lightning Ancestor Lei Yu was one of the top 10 experts in the Holy Devil era. According to the records, when the Lightning Ancestor was enraged, lightning would flood the entire Jiuqian. This meant that if the Lightning Ancestor was enraged, the entire Jiuqian would be drowned in lightning. One could see the Lightning Ancestor's might. "Greetings, Lord Lightning Ancestor Lord Fei Jia." The group of Super Forces ancestors paled as they hurried forward, lowering their heads in greeting. These were all Jiuqian's powerhouses. Some of them were early world lords, while others were mid-stage world lords. But in front of the Lightning Ancestor Lei Yu, all of them had to lower their heads. Some Heavenly God Realm and True God Realm experts even knelt down. Those who came to the Heavenly Steel were all True God Realm experts and above. The appearance of the Heavenly Steel brought with it boundless heavenly might. Those below the True God Realm, emperors and ancient emperors, were unable to withstand this heavenly might. Thus, none of them dared to come. Looking at the group of experts kneeling and bowing, Lei Yu smiled warmly. "I haven't come out for many years. There's no need to be so restrained. Rise." The group of ancestors, patriarchs, and True God Realm experts rose to their feet. Lei Yu, Fei Jia, and the rest led the Kuanping Divine Sect's experts to an empty space at the side of the central plaza. There were several empty spaces at the side of the plaza, and the largest one belonged to the Kuanping Divine Sect. The Kuanping Divine Sect's experts marched towards the largest empty space. This time, the Kuanping Divine Sect had brought 30 world lords, 1,000 heavenly gods. Ordinary super forces would only have 1 or 2 world lords, but the Kuanping Divine Sect had brought 30 of them. This was the strength of the Jiuqian's #1 sect. But everyone present knew that this was only a small portion of the Kuanping Divine Sect's strength. Some said that even if the Qin and Painting School, Black Heaven Sect, Taiching Sword School, Yen Tribe, Stone Golem Tribe, Heavenly Beast Sect, Shumi Buddhist Sect, 100 Change Sect, and Guiyuan Sword School combined, they couldn't even compare to the Kuanping Divine Sect. Lei Yu, Fei Jia, and the rest walked towards the empty space of the Kuanping Divine Sect. When they passed by the empty space of the Qin and Painting School, they saw a blue-robed young man sitting there, drinking by himself. One of the Kuanping Divine Sect's heavenly divinities stepped forward, greeting Lei Yu and Fei Jia respectfully. "Old Ancestor, Sect Chief, he is Lu Yiping." Oh, Lei Yu was surprised. He looked at Lu Yiping again, and when he saw Lu Yiping's stone table and stool, he couldn't help but exclaim, "Chaos Divine Stone?" Fei Jia was also surprised. "Ancestor, you've come in person, but this Lu Brad is still sitting there drinking. He's incomparably arrogant. Should we teach him a lesson? A mid-stage plainer lord stepped forward and asked Lei Yu respectfully. Lei Yu replied indifferently, "There's no need for that. He's just a junior who doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Someone will teach him a lesson." He then led Kuanpeng Zhongzhong's group to the empty space of the Kuanping divine sect. Kuanpeng Zhongzhong's group hurriedly took out a stone table and a stone stool made from golden dawn stone for Lei Yu and Fei Jia to sit down. Then they poured wine for Lei Yu and Fei Jia. This Lu Yiping only dares to occupy the empty space of the Qin and painting school. He doesn't dare to take even half a step into our Kuanping divine sect's territory. Seems like he's quite tactful. One of the Kuanpeng divine sect's ancestors laughed. Our Kuanpeng divine sect is not something he dares to provoke. At this time, a small commotion broke out in the crowd as another group of experts walked into Stone Steel Town. The newcomers were from the Qin and painting school. The experts from the Qin and painting school were all dressed in white, exuding a scholarly aura. However, the middle-aged man leading the group was dressed differently from the other experts from the Qin and painting school. He wore a black armor with a demon god engraved on it. The Qin and painting school's sect master, Hua Rushing, followed behind him respectfully. Demonic zither. The older generation's ancestors were shocked when they saw the middle-aged man in black armor. Who is the demonic zither? Some of the patriarchs were puzzled. He's the senior brother of the zither god Fu Chao. His strength is above Fu Chao's. One of the ancestors said with a solemn expression. Those who had never heard of the demonic zither were shocked. Doesn't that mean that the demonic zither is comparable to the 10 great experts of the Holy Devil era? Someone asked. Amidst the crowd's shock, the demonic zither led the experts from the Qin and painting school to the square in the middle of Stone Steel Town. Just as the experts from the Qin and painting school entered Stone Steel Town, another group of experts arrived. It was the Black Heaven sect, the Matchless Tavern, the Yen family, and the Tai Ching Sword School. Jitian, Cheng Shuanglong, Yen Meng, Zhang Sengchong. Many of the ancestors exclaimed when they saw the 4 people at the front. Jitian was the legendary figure of the Black Heaven sect. Cheng Shuanglong was from the Matchless Tavern. Yen Meng was the grandfather of the Yen family's current patriarch. Zhang Sengchong was needless to say. The Black Heaven sect and the Tai Ching Sword School were the 3rd and 4th superpowers in Zhoutian. The Matchless Tavern was the number 1 tavern in Zhoutian, and the Yen family was the number 1 family in the Great Void region. No matter who it was, they would be shocked to see the 4 superforces joining forces. Even the demonic zither, who had just entered the Qin and painting school, stopped. Who is Cheng Shuanglong? Someone asked. Many of them had heard of Jitian, Yen Meng and Zhang Sengchong, but they had never heard of the name Cheng Shuanglong. One of the ancestors said with a solemn expression. He was one of the Lord Holy Demon's generals in the past. Speaking of the Lord Holy Demon, the ancestor couldn't hide his excitement and admiration. The Holy Demon had been invincible for 3 eras. With a stomp of his foot, the Zhoutian trembled. No matter who it was, they couldn't hide their excitement and admiration when the Holy Demon was mentioned. During the Holy Demon's era, even the powerful Kuanpeng divine sect had to retreat. This was the Holy Demon's might. What, a general under the Lord Holy Demon? The patriarchs and ancestors were shocked. The Holy Demon was invincible in the Zhoutian, the Divine Land, and the Netherworld prison. Wherever he went, he was invincible. Naturally, not just anyone could serve under him. To be able to become a general under him, one had to be extremely powerful. In an instant, the way everyone looked at Cheng Shuanglong changed. In their eyes, even Jitian, Yen Meng, and Zhang Sengchong couldn't compare to Cheng Shuanglong. This was because Cheng Shuanglong was a general under the Lord Holy Demon. Just based on this, it was enough for him to be above Jitian, Yen Meng, and Zhang Sengchong. Gu Gaoyuan and other Wushuang Tavern's experts followed behind Cheng Shuanglong. So many strong characters came for the Heavenly Steel's appearance this time. When the Heavenly Steel appears, I think it's better for us to hide further away. These big shots, even if it was just the aftermath of their attacks, it wasn't something an ordinary plain lord could withstand. After the Zither Devil stopped Jitian, Yen Meng, Cheng Shuanglong, and Zhang Sengchong caught up to him. He took a step forward and cupped his fists at Cheng Shuanglong. Brother Wushuang. He only addressed Cheng Shuanglong, not Jitian Yanmeng or Zhang Sengchong. Perhaps in his heart, only Cheng Shuanglong was worthy enough for him to stop and greet him. Chapter 139. Jitian Yanmeng and Zhang Sengchong were displeased when they saw Absolute Zither Devil greeting Cheng Wushuang, but they did not show it on their faces. Cheng Shuanglong did not act arrogantly, cupping his fists at Absolute Zither Devil, so it's Brother Emoju. After so many years, Brother Emoju's style is even better than before. Absolute Zither Devil revealed a smile. Brother Wushuang is overpraising me. He then made an inviting gesture. Brother Wushuang, please. Please. Cheng Shuanglong smiled, then said to Jitian Yanmeng and Zhang Sengchong, 3 brothers please. Please. Jitian Yanmeng and Zhang Sengchong hurriedly said. While the several big shots were talking, Gu Gaoyuan, Hua Rusheng, Chu Yuan, and Chen Shiming did not dare to interrupt. Subsequently, the Wushuang Bar, Qin and Painting School, Black Heaven Sect, Taiqing Sword School, and Yin family, these 5 super forces headed towards the square in the center of Stone Tablet Town. Moments later, Absolute Zither Devil, Cheng Shuanglong, Jitian Yanmeng, and Zhang Sengchong arrived at the square. However, when they arrived, they saw a blue-robed young man sitting on the empty ground of the Qin and Painting School, drinking by himself. They were stunned. What was going on? Did this young man not know that was the empty ground of the Qin and Painting School? When Cheng Shuanglong saw Lu Yiping's figure, he felt a sense of familiarity. Suddenly, he shuddered as a figure appeared in his mind from a distant memory. His eyes widened. That year, he was lucky enough to follow the Holy Devil and sneak a peek at that forbidden existence. He only saw the forbidden existence's back and did not see his face. Thus, when he looked at Lu Yiping, he was bewildered. Was it that lord? However, he was not certain. Throw him away. Absolute Zither Devil ordered. At this time, one of the Qin and Painting School's patriarchs stepped forward and said, Lord Emoju, this person is Lu Yiping. Lu Yiping. Whether it was demonic Zither, Zhang Sengchong, Jitian Yanmeng, or the other experts, they were all surprised. So it's him. Demonic Zither's face darkened. During these past few days they had already investigated clearly. When Zither god Fu Chao was suppressed by the Buddha's palm, Lu Yiping was in Wind Thunder Manor in the Firmament Divine region. So they were certain that it wasn't Lu Yiping who did it. When Gu Gaoyuan heard that the young man in front of him was Lu Yiping, his eyes burned with anger and killing intent. He had already found out that the young man who had killed his son was Lu Yiping. Gu Gaoyuan stepped forward and spoke respectfully to Cheng Shuanglong. Lord, this person killed my son, destroyed my ancient mystic city's Wushuang Tavern, and treated my Wushuang Tavern as nothing. Lord, please allow us to take action and kill this person. Cheng Shuanglong hesitated. At this time, the Taiqing Sword School's Zhang Sengchong stepped forward and looked at Lu Yiping with an indifferent gaze. Lu Yiping, I didn't expect you to have the guts to come to the Heavenly Steel Town. Lu Yiping didn't even look at Zhang Sengchong as he asked indifferently, why wouldn't I dare to come? Zhang Sengchong sneered. More than 100 experts from my Taiqing Sword School, Qin Huai, were killed by the Guan Sword School's Chu Tong, and all of them died because of you. You're wrong, Taurus Longjiao suddenly interrupted. Your Taiqing Sword School's more than 100 experts were killed by me. Zhang Sengchong and the others were surprised. All this time they had thought that Qin Huai's 100 experts were killed by Chu Tong, Feng Wan, and the others. It's you. Zhang Sengchong and the others from the Taiqing Sword School looked at Taurus Longjiao in shock. Taurus Longjiao teased, that's right, do you want to make a move? His gaze then swept over Gu Gaoyuan, Master Qinemo, Hua Rusheng, and the others. If you want to make a move, all of you should make a move together, lest I have to deal with you one by one. Gu Gaoyuan, Hua Rusheng, and the others' faces sank. Master Qinmo's gaze was indifferent. Right at this time, the Heavenly Steel Town Central Square shook violently. Rays of light shot up to the sky. These rays of light exuded the power of heaven's might. Layers of heaven's might gushed out like a waterfall, spreading out in all directions. The entire Heavenly Steel Town was enveloped by these rays of heaven's might. Everyone's attention was on the central square. What's going on? Is the Heavenly Steel coming out? Why did it come out in advance? Everyone was in disbelief. From the primordial era until now, the heavenly steel had come out many times, but no one had ever heard of it coming out in advance. What was the reason for the heavenly steel to come out in advance? What no one noticed was that when Lu Yiping was sitting there, an invisible force was seeping into the space beneath his feet. Lei Yu, who was drinking the lightning luster wine, saw the heavenly steel coming out. Although he was surprised, he was also overjoyed. He laughed heartily. Good. The heavenly steel is finally coming out. To him, it was a good thing that the heavenly steel was coming out in advance. This way he wouldn't have to waste time waiting here. In an instant, everyone in the heavenly steel town became excited. Everyone, whether sitting or standing, moved closer to the central square. Lei Yu also stood up impatiently, walking to the edge of the square. His gaze swept over the crowd. When the heavenly steel comes out, the main steel and the surrounding 9 steels will belong to my Kuanpeng divine sect. Don't blame me for not reminding you. If anyone wants to snatch the main steel and the surrounding 9 steels, don't blame my Kuanpeng divine sect for turning hostile. His voice reverberated through the heavenly steel town. Streaks of lightning radiated from his body. No one made a sound. Cheng Shuanglong frowned. When the Holy Demon Lord was still around, the Kuanpeng divine sect had obediently given up the main steel and the surrounding 9 steels. Now that the Holy Demon Lord had left the Jiutian, the Kuanpeng divine sect had regained their arrogance. However, although Lei Yu's tone was arrogant, Huang Xiaolong didn't say anything. Without the Holy Demon Lord, the Kuanpeng divine sect indeed had the strength to be so arrogant. The light in the square grew stronger. The tremors became more intense. It was as if terrifying beasts were about to break out from the ground. As the light grew stronger, the heavenly might grew stronger as well. In the sky above the heavenly steel town, wind and lightning crackled. Even true God realm experts couldn't withstand the heavenly might, and their faces turned pale. Boom, boom, boom. Strange sounds came from the ground. Everyone looked over and saw a stone steel slowly rising from the ground in the center of the square. The stone steel shone so brightly that everyone couldn't open their eyes. Even ordinary plain lords were no exception. This was the heavenly steel's main steel. Lei Yu, the Zither Demon Lord Zhang Sangchong, and the rest looked at the main steel with burning eyes. Lei Yu laughed loudly. My main steel has finally appeared. The main steel continued to rise. The light grew stronger. In the end, it finally stopped when it reached a height of nearly 4.9 meters. Everyone looked at the main steel and saw words flowing on it. However, they couldn't see it clearly. There was a mysterious energy that enveloped the heavenly steel. One could only see it when they were 1 meter away. The further away they were, the less clear it was. Lei Yu excitedly walked towards the main steel. However, just as he was about to walk towards the main steel, someone beat him to it and stood in front of it. Everyone looked at the blue-robed figure standing in front of the main steel with a strange expression on their faces. Chapter 140. Before Lei Yu, Lu Yiping stood in front of the main monument. Juemo Zhang Sangchong Gu Gaoan, and the rest sneered when they saw Lu Yiping standing in front of the main monument before Lei Yu. This Lu Yiping actually dared to snatch the main monument from the Kuanpeng divine sect. He was simply courting death. Lei Yu's face was extremely cold. When the heavenly monument appeared, the main monument and the 9 monuments around it always belonged to the Kuanpeng divine sect. This was common knowledge in the Jiutian world. Moreover, he had just declared that whoever dared to snatch the main monument and the 9 monuments around it shouldn't blame the Kuanpeng divine sect for turning hostile. Now this Lu Yiping actually dared to snatch the main monument from him. What was this? Did he treat his words like a fart? Just as Lei Yu's face was filled with killing intent, the Kuanpeng divine sect chief Fei Jie suddenly exploded, punching towards Lu Yiping's back. Surnamed Lu Scram. Someone like you dares to covet my Kuanpeng divine sect's things. When his fist punched out, the world energy roared. 50 million units. Jumo's face turned solemn when he felt the Kuanpeng divine sect chief Fei Jie's strength. Zhang Sangchong, Jitian, Yen Meng, and the rest of the Jiutian divine sect's forces were shocked. When one's world energy broke through 30 million units, they would reach the late stage of the Lord of a World, and they would be considered one of the Jiutian's overlords. During the Holy Devil era, The Zither god Fu Chao only had 40 million units of world energy. And this Kuan-Peng divine sect chief Fei Jie actually had 50 million units of world energy. It was 10 million units higher than Fu Chao's. The further one cultivated, the harder it was to raise one's world energy. Moreover, the further one cultivated, the greater the disparity in battle power. Even if it was only 41 million units of world energy, it was still much stronger than 40 million units, not to mention 50 million units. Thus, the Kuan-Peng divine sect chief Fei Jie's strength was not something Fu Chao could compare to. Fei Jie was hailed as the Zhoutian's #1 expert of this generation. This was the absolute strength of the #1 person in Zhoutian. Just as Fei Jie's fist was about to hit Lu Yiping, a figure suddenly appeared in front of Fei Jie. Everyone was stunned. The person standing between Fei Jie and Lu Yiping was none other than Taurus Longjiao. Zhang Sengchong sneered. A mere slave dares to stand in the way of a Zhoutian overlord? You overestimate yourself. Taurus Longjiao had killed Qin Huai from the Taiqing sword school. He might have some strength, but Qin Huai only had 1 million units of planar energy. Now, Taurus Longjiao's attempt to block Fei Jie's ultimate attack was no different from a snail trying to stop a chariot. It would be crushed into pieces in an instant. Indifferent smiles appeared on Fei Jie's face when he saw that it was Taurus Longjiao who was standing in front of him. He increased his strength by a notch. He was the #1 person in Zhoutian. How could a mere slave challenge him? Taurus Longjiao chuckled when he sensed that Fei Jie's strength had increased again. He punched out. When he smashed his fist forward, everyone noticed that numerous cracks had actually appeared in the space before him. It was as if an incomparably thick wall had begun to crack. Immediately, Taurus Longjiao's fist began to spin at an astonishing speed like a vortex. First revolution. The space in the square began to spin. Everyone felt as if they were being twisted. Second revolution. The space was twisted into a lump like a piece of clothing. Everyone felt the terrifying twisting of the space around them. It was extremely uncomfortable. Everyone turned pale with fright. They hurriedly activated their planar energy to resist the twisting of space. Cheng Shuanglong watched Taurus Longjiao's twisting fist. Amidst his shock, his face was filled with excitement. This is... However, he was still unsure. His eyes widened. At this moment, Taurus Longjiao's fist force changed again. Third revolution. The space was twisted again. It actually made a creaking sound. It was as if it was something that was about to be broken. Fourth revolution, fifth revolution, sixth revolution, seventh revolution, and 8th revolution. Finally, the 9th revolution. When it was the 9th revolution, the space creaked loudly. Everyone seemed to have an illusion that the space had been twisted apart. The surrounding people already had to endure such a terrifying twisting force, let alone Fei Jie. Fei Jie's eyes widened as he felt the terrifying force. His expression changed completely, especially Taurus Longjiao's fist. It reminded him of one of the Holy Demon Lord's ultimate techniques. Taurus Longjiao's fist force instantly shattered Fei Jie's fist force without any hesitation. The terrifying force surged towards Fei Jie. Fei Jie panicked. A huge shield flew out from his body. This was the Kuan-Peng divine sect's heavenly wall shield. It meant that it was indestructible. This heavenly wall shield wasn't a supreme divine artifact. It was an acquired spiritual treasure that surpassed supreme divine artifacts. At the same time, a divine armor covered Fei Jie's body. This divine armor was the Kuan-Peng divine sect's inherited divine artifact. It was also an acquired spiritual treasure that surpassed supreme divine artifacts. Finally, a thick layer of scales grew on Fei Jie's body. This was the power of the Kuan-Peng bloodline. Boom! The heavenly wall shield was hit by Taurus Longjiao's fist force. It paused for a moment and shattered into countless pieces. Then the fist force landed on Fei Jie's body. The acquired spiritual treasure divine armor was also pierced through. The terrifying force blasted into Fei Jie's body. It was a force that could destroy heaven and earth. It crazily destroyed his internal organs. When Fei Jie landed outside the square and smashed into the ground, his chest was completely pierced through, and his internal organs were completely gone. Fei Jie lay there motionless. There was blood everywhere. It was the blood of the strongest person in the Zhoutian generation. Looking at Fei Jie's body on the ground, everyone turned to look at Taurus Longjiao in shock. Fei Jia, who had 50 million battle planes worth of energy and 2 acquired spiritual treasures, was still unable to withstand a single punch from Lu Yiping's subordinate. Even after using the power of the Kuan-Peng bloodline, Fei Jia was still half dead. 9 Revolutions Emptiness Fist. Lei Yu and demonic Zither looked at Taurus Longjiao in shock. Both of them were shocked by Taurus Longjiao's strength, but they were even more shocked by Taurus Longjiao's fist technique. 9 Revolutions Emptiness Fist. Some of the patriarchs exclaimed, could it be Lord Holy Devil's 9 Revolutions Emptiness Fist? The Holy Devil had 10 ultimate techniques that deterred the Jiuqian, and the 9 Revolutions Emptiness Fist was one of them. Those who didn't recognize Taurus Longjiao's fist technique were shocked when they heard that Taurus Longjiao had executed the 9 Revolutions Emptiness Fist. Chang Shuanglong was even more excited. It really is Lord Holy Devil's 9 Revolutions Emptiness Fist. Earlier, when he saw Taurus Longjiao executing the 9 Revolutions Emptiness Fist, he had already suspected it, but he wasn't sure. Now that Taurus Longjiao had executed the 9 Revolutions Emptiness Fist, he was certain. At the same time, he couldn't help but look at the blue-robed figure standing in front of the stone tablet. 9 Revolutions Emptiness Fist, was this a coincidence? Taurus Longjiao looked at Fei Jia, who was lying motionless on the ground, and said, you dare to attack my master with this little bit of strength? Everyone choked. 50 million battle planes worth of energy, and this little bit of strength? Who are you? How are you related to Lord Holy Devil? Lei Yu regained his senses, and he looked gloomily at Taurus Longjiao as he asked.